Haras Du Jardy, leg 4 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series and the Dressage phase. The first of the 3 phases of competition, all taking place in the arena behind me. We've had 10 of the 29 combinations come forward already after the lunch break, and we'll be taking a look at that leaderboard in just a second. But I'm delighted to say, joining us in the studio for this second session of Dressage, 2018 Series champion, defending champion Chris Burton, and Mark Ruddock, our dressage expert as well. Now, Chris, we obviously spoke to you this morning in the show opener as well, but just explain to us why you withdrew this weekend for anyone that might not have caught it.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Lawtown Chloe mustn't have travelled well, and we've just had the blood results back this morning that say she has actually got travel sickness, and she's been treated well, but I was delighted that we made the correct decision not to run her. And it's something I've never had before, travel sickness, but something that does occur, and hopefully, because we've caught it early, we can have her in veterinary care and in good hands.
Well, fingers crossed she's on a road to recovery very, very quickly. And of course, we'll look forward to seeing you back, hopefully in Mill Street.
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
And Mark, in terms of the dressage so far this morning, how's it lived up to your expectations?
I think the judges have been like bang on, really good judging, and I think like PB's coming. I think they'll tell us
Personal
bests. Yeah, really good riding, and there's some really, really exciting 9-year-olds.
Let's just talk a little bit about one of those 9-year-olds, because Giraud Licos, Esprit de la Loge, who we both fell in love with in our field a few weeks ago, went to finish 6th there. Personal best in the dressage, leads 28.3.
And I think like Chris would probably agree, like a 9-year-old going to Arville, learnt a lot, comes here and has grown up, and it was like it was however many % better. And I think on that 9-year, I know some of them can come and freeze and actually get nervous, but that horse grew from Arville, and it was like a different horse. Yeah.
Well, they are, as I say, our leaders after the first session of dressage. So let's take a look at that leaderboard. 10 combinations have presented to our ground jury already, and it is Giraud Licos, Esprit de la Loge for the home nation out in front, 28.2 their score. Michael Young, a winner here 2 years ago, that was with Star Connection. He comes forward with Kriva Cooley, was a little bit disappointed with his test. The horse got a little bit tense, 29.3. Alex Bragg, the defending champion here, delighted with Alcatraz, a personal best to be our 3rd sub-30 score before the lunch break. Karim Leguang punched to left at 32.5. Karim on the podium here 2 years ago as well, and a little bit further down. Tom Crisp, very pleased with Liberty and Glory. And Tom McEwen, CHF Coolizer, 35.1 their total score, but this is a horse really one to watch for the future. So let's take a look at those combinations still to come forward this afternoon with the running order as the dressage is seeded. So in theory, the dressage test should get better and better as the day progresses. Raphael Cochet, Sherazade de Louvière get us underway after the break, but Felix Fogg, I'm looking out for their test with Calero. Now, Felix went really well in Kentucky 5-star this spring to finish in 6th place there, the horse's first international run since then. Janelle Price looking for a good test with Gravine d'Arev, and then some really, really big French names coming forward. Nicolas Touzaint, the 2003 European champion, Arnaud Boiteau, an Olympic gold medalist as well, and Sarah Cohen and Treason, ones that will be looking for good series points. Then these 9 combinations have the best averages in the field. Maxime Livio with Opium de Verrières, the horse that finished individually 11th at the World Equestrian Games in Tryon last year. Gemma Tattersall, Quick Look the 5th. Gemma, the hot favourites to be our leaders after the first of the phases here. They led the dressage in Arville, couldn't quite deliver for a podium finish on that occasion. Gemma will be looking to rectify that here. Tebow Vallette as well, King de Brio, Emily King and Brookley, keep a close eye out for them. And of course, Tim Price, a winner in Arville with Falco this time, should not be discounted at all. And Bill Levitt, Shannondale Titan, the last combination to go. And actually Bill has been top 10 on 2 previous visits to us here in Jardy with Shannondale Titan. So ones that we'll be really looking forward to seeing as the day progresses. But as you can see, the numbers are really coming through, and we have got top combination after top combination all the way through to Bill Levitt and Shannondale Titan as the last to go. Well, Echo Ratings this morning said that we would expect to see 10 sub-30 dressage tests after the first of the phases. I think we go to Derm and Echo Ratings Corner.
Thanks, Nicole. Look, will it be 10? It might even be more than 10, but one of the things we've been talking about recently is this really simple concept of 6-run average. So it's not the black magic that sometimes we've come up with around expected scores. We're literally taking the last 6 dressage tests at any level and getting the average of those. If we look at the first phase here, the average was 33 across that whole first phase. It was a little bit below both on the expected scores and 1.7 below on the 6-run average. What's that telling us? If we bring that into this group that we're about to see now, this is the 6-run average. So you can see coming in to begin with a 34.7 for Raphael. That would mean a 33. And here are the scores. I think we're probably, Nicole's talked about Felix Fogg. I think Felix Fogg is likely to challenge the lead in about a score of 28. The new leader is the interesting one. Well, just to go back, I think Janelle and Nicolas Touzaint both just above the 30 mark, so in about 31. And then Sarah Cohen, I do expect to take over the lead, 27. Nicole, you asked for some big predictions. Now you have it. Sarah Cohen will lead this, and I think we'll probably have maybe one or two more who'll break the 30 barrier, no more than that.
Well, we will watch this space because Sarah Cohen, I know there are a lot of people that would be really rooting for her this weekend. Let's just take a moment to talk about a few of those combinations coming forward. Mark, Sarah Cohen, we were watching her in the arena familiarisation last night, and Touzaint, he's so experienced, so consistent at this level now.
Well, he's just so rideable when he gets in the ring, and once he gets into canter, the marks really pick up, because Sarah can be so brave and he has proper ground cover. He's really uphill. The changes are really high quality, and she can dare him. She doesn't dare him, and like Chris will know how to do. When you can dare a horse, that's when the marks come.
How nice is that, to be able to go into a dressage arena with a horse you know so well and just be able to go for every mark?
That is a great feeling. In eventing, it's something that comes rarely, I'll be honest. But when you do get the feeling the horses really let you in and you can sit up and smile at the judges and really show off what you've done with your homework, there's nothing better, I think.
Yeah, and from a judge's point of view,
everyone appreciates
it. It does,
yeah.
In terms of other combinations we need to watch, Sidney Dufresne, Trestle Mail, 4th at Barbary in 2017, Mark. Can Sidney really impress those French selectors ahead of the European Championships?
I'd say he's after. He wants to play, so yes, he'll go for it as well. He'll take the risks.
How much of a difference does it make? Obviously, competition is so exciting. If riders are going in there, going for every mark, same on the cross country, just pushing to be competitive, it makes the Masters Series so exciting.
That's absolutely what we love about the ERM. It brings it to a whole new level, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. But what you get is top riding and top horsepersonship.
And I think it is that everyone's going for it. It's not like we're saving. I mean, occasionally you're running for an easy day, but you're doing this because it's proper money, means something.
Well, let's get back underway after that break. It is Raphael Cochet for France with the Haras Du Jardy, and Raphael making his Event Rider Masters debut has actually had some really good Nations Cup performances with this horse, and he'll be looking to make a real impact here. 13-year-old grey mare by Mr. Blue, and a horse that also went well in Arville in the normal 4-star section to finish in 6th place there. Top 20 at Jardy here 12 months ago as well, so good course form. And Mark, first impressions? A
little, not really very daring. The horse actually lacks a little bit of engagement and self-carriage, and you can see it's like we were talking about this morning about lightness and an uphill tendency. It's doing everything, but not with a great deal of suppleness and expression. And you know, you're difficult to get off the 7 range. It doesn't miss a beat in the rhythm, but, and we like that word cadence, which is a word, like if you could buy it in bottles for horses, it would be fantastic, where it just needs a bit more lift. And to be fair, the medium trot, it tries, but it goes onto the forehand when we were saying about the engine, the back end needs to sit and the front end needs to come up. And that's the whole general impression, Chris, is like lightness.
Yes, he's riding a very accurate test, though, which has to be commended. I'm afraid I wouldn't make a very good dressage judge because I know how hard it is, and I'd have to start on 7s and move up from there. So, and then when you do have the rider come in that can have the engagement that you're talking about and the extra power, then they use your 8s, 9s and 10s, etc.
Yeah, and that's what I was just saying. Like I know you got a 9 for that halt from one of the judges, but you're like, this horse is consistently just going 7, 6.5s, and I know that ends up on.
Yeah, but if you get a 7 from every movement from every judge, that's a 30.
Absolutely.
You know, consistency, a clear round in the dressage, so to speak, makes for an awful lot.
Precisely.
Well, you know, and if he knows that, and we were on about gifted paces and gifted people. Some horses are not as gifted at dressage. Some horses aren't ballerinas. But, this horse is well trained and well schooled, so he goes for accuracy.
And actually very relaxed.
Very relaxed.
She's really letting Raphael ride the test.
And he will know I can go and get I can come out probably on a 30 every time without a mistake. The risk with a horse that doesn't move that great is if you make a mistake, you then plummet. Where if you get in the 8s and the 9s, because of everything else, you can make a mistake and still come out on top. So you cannot make a mistake. And it's like we were saying this morning about lift and bounce in the canter. Just want more bounce and more jump.
He used a very light canter aid, and she offered a very, very sweet transition into canter. And again, it's absolutely on his aids and the horse is with him. And it has to be commended in a way. But then let's leave the higher marks for the ones that can do it with the power.
Yeah. And we were saying this morning about conformation plays a big deal as well, where she doesn't look naturally like she was born in an uphill frame. I expect her to do quite a sweet change. Oh, maybe not one that's not on the aid.
Yeah.
But she might have fluffed one, the judges might not have seen that. So that was a little bit like she knew what the test was, and she was like, I'll just do it without you.
How difficult is it, Chris? Because obviously you only have 2 tests at this level of competition, for long and short format. Horses learn them pretty quickly.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And you can imagine some of the old ones get quite cunning. They know when it's time for the change. They know when it's time for the canter transition in this test, for example. And they want to go ahead of us.
I mean, we like a clear transition back.
That
but
was very clear.
Yeah, it was very clear. But I think she's computer programmed to know the test. But we train horses by anticipation. That's how we teach them. But, this is where this test is not so easy with the counter canter. But it's very rare that actually people blow up. When this test first came out, everyone couldn't do the serpentine. Now everyone nailed the serpentine now. And now he's going to make her wait. I should think this time a bit more. Yeah. And it was a sweet change. Yeah.
I think that would be the overriding thing with this test. It's been absolutely lovely to watch.
Yeah.
It may not be getting the huge marks, but actually hugely consistent. And if you look at the horse's 6-run average, 34.8, so she's well below that at the moment.
So maybe this environment's lifted her a little bit more than normal, because maybe in the middle of a field somewhere she'd be quite relaxed. Where she's lifted from the environment. But she looks happy. She looks well trained.
Relaxed,
there's nice
rideable.
Harmony, rideable.
Absolutely. Raphael Cochet on his Event Rider Masters debut, Haras Du Jardy, and he should be getting down towards the 30 barrier. Won't challenge our leader of Janelle Price, who is out in front on 28.3, but still a very, very smart test from this combination. Their personal best actually is 29.5, so going to be going very close to that. And I think he's pretty happy with that, Chris, because the horse gave him everything he asked for.
Yeah, exactly. And in this sport, we have to start there. And it's ultimately, we're not looking for dressage horses, although the standard is going that way. We're looking for accuracy and rideability, which is what stands us in good stead on the cross country.
Well, 30.8, so into 4th for Raphael Cochet, Haras Du Jardy. I think he'll be absolutely delighted with that. You guys at home with the SAP Spectator Judging app actually putting him in 2nd on 29.8. Don't forget, you can get involved, download the app for free in your app store, and you can play along with the members of our ground jury this afternoon. But into 4th for Raphael Cochet on his Event Rider Masters debut, and we'll go and hear from him with Hannah.
Well, that was a lovely test from Raphael Cochet. Raphael, you must be very happy with that.
I don't speak English, sorry.
Well, you just did. How was that?
Je peux répondre en français.
Oh, perfect. A translator. Can you ask him how he was he pleased with his test?
Je suis très content. La jument était très calme, donc ça c'est primordial pour elle. Voilà, après ça peut être amélioré à plein de petits endroits, mais globalement elle a fait une bonne reprise.
He's really happy. The mare was really calm, and so he's really happy. He can make it better, but for the moment it's okay.
Okay, congratulations, Raphael. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Well, Raphael, and understandably very pleased with Haras Du Jardy, goes into 4th on 30.8. Well, this is a combination that I've been really looking forward to seeing. Felix Fogg, Calero. Felix actually spent some time out in the United States over the last couple of years, was based over there for a while, in the build-up to the World Equestrian Games in Tryon. Completed there on this horse, Calero. He's ranked number 32 in the world and actually travelled back to Europe, having finished 6th in Kentucky on this horse's last international run in April of this year. A horse that is more than capable of putting in a very strong performance in this first phase, and one of the more experienced horses in the field as well. Equa ratings are saying he's going to be around the 28 marker, so this could be one that is able to challenge our current leader, Jureg Lecoz, on 28.2.
Impressive plats.
That's very observant of you. What are his plats?
All down to the super groom.
Look how many 100 plats. Like Petit Pois all the way down.
Lots of very small, lovely
I was
plats.
too busy focused on Felix. He's a very talented rider and
Well, I was looking at all his
great-looking
contact
horse.
and the frame, and then I saw its plats. So just going around the edge of the arena, you can see when I was saying about cadence, this horse has natural just lift and lightness and that natural uphill tendency. I like what I see.
You like what you see? Are you going to make a bold
We don't do
call,
that.
Mark?
We don't do that
Go
as
on.
judges.
Bold call, Mark.
Bold
Is
call.
he going to go and challenge our leader?
He's going to go into the lead
Okay.
because the contact's very good. The mouth is very good. It looks attentive.
Yeah.
Well, Felix Fogg, Calero, one of 2 Swiss combinations in the field.
I'm sorry, Felix, what I've just done to you.
Curse of the commentator hasn't happened yet, Mark. It's okay. A little bit of a distraction in the halt, perhaps?
No, I think I'd have to give that a decent mark. It wasn't a good halt, and then he corrected it into a more square halt, so you have to pay that.
How much, as a rider, Chris, if something happens in training, you can correct it? How much of a rider can you ever do that in a test?
Yeah, well, when you have very good knowledge of the horse and a good knowledge of dressage, you should be able to correct things like a halt, for example. You should be able to feel through your seat if it's not square, or if it is square, however. It's hard to do.
But I think that's the difference between good riders to professional riders. You can school a horse still through a test.
Correct, yeah. Yes, exactly.
Perhaps saw that with Tom McEwen a little bit earlier on, giving the horse a really good experience. Well,
Yeah.
3 members of our ground jury at the moment, at C, Eric Levy, at M, Christina Kingsport, and at B, Les Smith. And we're going to listen in to Les Smith at points throughout this afternoon's broadcast because he is mic'd up, so we can go in and listen to the scores that he puts in.
You're fine, don't worry. 7.5. 9.0.
Ooh, a 9 from Les. And why, Mark?
The legs, well, we could only see the legs. The legs were very clear, very diagonal, and I presume, obviously, the 9, the mouth was very good as well.
Each step, even in the rein back, I was watching it thinking, well, that's a high mark,
Yeah.
surely.
You know, that's real submission, that mark. Rein back.
Ultimately staying with him too, staying with Felix. He can see something in this corner every time he turns down this end, he pricks his ears, but
Yeah.
then he stays at work and goes,
Okay, I'm over it.
I'll listen to the rider.
And when you're judging a horse like this, you start to relax judging them as well, and actually the marks do pop out of you easier because you start to enjoy it as a judge, and you're quite like the riders when they're riding forward. You're believing and go with it, and it is like you feel like you're on the journey together. I know riders don't think the judges are on their side, but you do get involved.
He got a 9 from Les at B for his extended walk as well there. These marks are really bringing that penalty score down, and he is well on track to go into the lead here.
It'll just be interesting in this serpentine because he's spooky in this corner, and he's got to look to what he doesn't like. Yeah, just cleverly shave that corner.
Well
there.
ridden.
Well
yeah.
ridden.
Switzerland, one of those countries chasing Olympic qualification at the Europeans later this year, and this combination very much a part of those plans. Happy with that change, Mark?
Yeah. I think he could have been braver and ridden it more forward and gone for a bigger one, but
It
I'd
was
still
clean.
go 8. He prepared it through the serpentine and he made it supple through the neck on the turns, and you would have been disappointed as a rider if that change hadn't come off.
He's still feeling fresh, this
Yeah,
horse.
he
He's
is.
ready to run.
Yeah, so 2/8 for the change. And I'd sort of ignore what it did in that medium canter because I think it was just more like jolly rather than resistant. And I think from a judging point of view, when they make mistakes like that, you don't mind because actually it was a jolly it was jolly, not just being a git. So I shouldn't say that word probably.
But you're absolutely right. The horse was doing its movement.
Yeah, happily.
Had a bit of a squeal and a play and did it with a smile on its face.
Oops. So like there, they'll say croup high, so that'll be in the range of 5s. I think he tried to ride it forward, which he hadn't done the time before, to get a bigger mark, so he'll be slightly disappointed because he went for it, but it's just the ground cover this horse has and the gears. Like it comes back, it goes and comes back, and it has ground cover, and it's just easy.
Well, this is a huge test for Switzerland. Felix Fogg, Calero going to the top of the leaderboard. They salute to our ground jury and a round of applause from those watching on, because that really was an impressive performance and will be in the mid-20s. We'll confirm his score when it comes through. But Chris, there was a huge amount to like from the horse in that test. And actually, just a word on Felix's riding, because the horse did look a little bit sharp at the very start of his test and not too sure about something in the top end of the arena. But actually, Felix caught his attention and he really reaped the rewards.
Didn't he ever? I thought he rode fantastically, and what a beautiful animal it is. For me, a real eventing horse, a sport horse, and a great model.
And it just like owns, walking out there, it just owns the whole, what it's just done.
25.8 into the lead for Switzerland, and it is Felix Fogg, Calero. Mark said they were going to go into the top spot. I have to admit, it was a combination I was looking forward to seeing, and we'll be looking forward to seeing them in the jumping phases as well. It's a new leader, and Felix is with Hannah.
Felix, what a superb test that was. You have shot into the lead with a 25.8. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I didn't expect that. It was a bit difficult at the beginning. He spooked a bit on the camera. But he did his job, and I'm really happy, really pleased with him.
You had a lot of 9s in there as well. The judges were obviously very impressed with you. You know, is that what you're expecting from the horse, from the
he can go a really good test. He showed it a few times, but still my feeling is still there's a lot to improve. So even he scores now so well, so I think there's still a good future in the dressage for him. So I'm really looking forward to this as well.
Well, you've really put yourself in contention. Well done, Felix.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was a huge performance from Felix Fogg, and actually his best test with this horse at any level of the sport since Raphael Cochet back in 2017. So we have a new leader, and that is now the score to beat. Who can challenge him? There's a number coming forward, particularly in the final session of dressage, and we'll look forward to seeing who can topple him from that top spot of the podium as things stand at the moment. Mark, what's it going to take to beat that test?
Well, he's still left room. He had spooky moments. He had the odd tension down at the C end.
And one of the flying changes.
He's left there is room. There's room to go like 4% better.
We'll watch this space.
We haven't had a clear round.
No. Well, can this man deliver it for us? Sidney Dufresne and Trésor Mail. Sidney, whose best placing with this horse was 4th at Barbary Event Rider Masters in 2017. One of the years that Thomas Carlyle and Upsilon took the top spot on the podium, and a combination that were part of the French team that won Team Bronze at the World Equestrian Games last year.
It's like really good stats, but they will want the nose to be more in front of the vertical, and I know he's got a bit of a stallion in his neck. I don't know whether he was cut late because he looks like a stallion.
He is a stallion.
That'll be why then. Well spotted. Yeah.
Can I ask, Mark, if you were judging, though, because this has been a problem with the very cresty stallions, when it looks like the pole's not the highest part of the horse, but it's still up in front.
It's the nose.
Yeah, okay.
I get the crest will always be higher, but if the nose needs to be in front of the vertical, and I think you've got to be very aware with that. Like that nose is not in front of the vertical, so I don't really care what its pole's doing. And like I can't go more than a 7.5 because it needed to take the rein
So
more forward.
what is the ideal position in terms of a horse's head carriage? When you say...
There, that position
Okay.
there, where it was just in front, a millimetre in front, into that halt, was a very good frame. And that was rushed back in the legs. Like almost there. But it's difficult with the stallions because you actually never feel you really have their attention, and you can quite often ride them a bit overly round. It's a much better frame on this rein.
He's a nice mover, this horse. He moves through his whole body, doesn't he?
Yeah. I take it he's Jaguar male.
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
Yes, it's got to be. And it's very unusual, again. Have you had a stallion at this level?
Well, yes.
Yeah, easy, no.
Well, it depends on the character of the stallion, doesn't it?
But it's more the stabling away and things, isn't it? When you're stabling them away and they can,
Yeah, I've been really lucky with the few stallions I've had in my time. They're good-natured horses, but you can, of course, it can be very difficult with a stallion.
Especially when they come to a stud. So, like the walk here, it was relaxed and it was true and it was correct, but again, the frame needs to be much longer and needs more purpose for an extended walk. It was, I've been on the 6.5. It was more of a dawdle than an extended walk. Transition was very nice. And you normally feel event horses, when they get into canter, their frames improve because that's what you used and most your word doing is canter. But the horse has been very on the 8s and very rideable. Sorry, my fault.
Changing behind. .0.
Well, that was expensive for Sidney.
A little tight through change, 6.5.
Very lucky to be able to listen in to members of our ground jury, and you can just see how expensive that change behind was in that counter-canter, because it does drop that score significantly. Have you noticed a major change since the removal of the coefficient at international level, Chris?
I don't really think so. Ultimately, the people riding and doing good tests are going to be rewarded, and I don't think we're seeing a big difference. Maybe, that we're not getting the extreme, although we saw it with Ingrid the other day, so I would say no. Perhaps Derm can answer that one for us. What would Ingrid have had if there were more collectives?
Well, the counter-canter proving expensive in both movements for Sidney. And the change, Mark?
The change was a 7. It was better than the other change.
It wasn't on his 8.
It wasn't, but it wasn't his.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have had any idea that the horse had that sort of I don't really think it's probably a Stallion-y thing. He likes doing flying changes and is... Because the canter is such quality.
Yes.
The stallions are very, very sensitive. He'll be quite annoyed at that, really. He's allowed to be annoyed. Or disappointed.
Well, Sidney Dufresne and Trésor Mail completing their test. Sidney perhaps a little bit frustrated with that final hole. Emily King watching on. We'll see her coming forward in the dressage a little bit later on. One of the favourites with Brookley for a podium finish. But Sidney Dufresne will go inside the top 10, but not able to get close enough to our leaders to challenge for a podium position as things stand at the moment. And Mark, in terms of that, there were a few expensive mistakes that really just stopped him getting those bigger marks.
Again, I think it's just the day that was in it. It wasn't a training issue. It wasn't a problem. It was just the day that was in it. And that's what your horses and stallions, and it is annoying.
Well,
they
Sidney
don't know it's a big day.
Trésor Mail will confirm Sidney's final score for you in just a second, but we'll go and find his thoughts with Hannah.
Sidney, how was that?
It was shit. No, I didn't. I don't know, he was not as relaxed as he was normally. It's a bit a shame because we didn't expect that, so...
Do you think there's any reason in particular? The atmosphere, what was it?
I don't really know because, he's done a lot of height competition and a big atmosphere. So I think we just need to practice a bit more and to be a bit more ready, because I don't feel very ready for the moment after today.
Okay, well, it's competition, isn't it, Sidney? You win some, you lose some. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Well, next to come forward, disappointment for Sidney Dufresne, but next up is Jorg Kerbel. Josera's entertain you. Jorg has been around the German squad for a number of years now, and this is a horse that has had some good results at this level previously. Was top 20 in Marbach a little bit earlier on this year, actually 13th at Blenheim in the long format 4-star last season, and has previously been top 15 at Le Moulin as well.
It was a very nice beginning, and the medium trot, like, good in the legs, but the nose needs to be more forward because the whole frame should lengthen. So again, you can't get off the 7s, but the horse actually has quite a lot of capability in its paces.
Chris, talk to us a little bit about the music. So anybody listening through the website eventridermasters.tv does get to listen to the music that our riders choose. Obviously, Jorg has picked Rob Williams, Let Me Entertain You. I know you've had a special compilation made. What difference does it make? How much of an impact can it have on your test?
I love it. Again, you know, I keep banging on about this, but it's one of the fantastic things about Event Rider Masters. And I think that every dressage rider will agree. You can use the music with your training too, if you like. Wow, what a hold. We were all holding our breath to make sure he got the five steps of rain back, so I hope they reward that well.
Yeah, it's
787.
We couldn't see the mouth, but the legs were fantastic.
What was the mark for the 10? What was the mark for the
7
hold?
and 8. So it must have been a bit mouthy.
That was a slip up from me. What was the mark for the 10? What was the mark for the very square halt? I'd make a terrible judge.
8. I presume the mouth wasn't so good. This is one of the best walks we've seen. Similar to Felix's walk, where the horse wants to go to the end of the arena and its ears are pricked.
The frame's very good.
The frame's really good.
7.5. Needs more connection. 6.5. 7.0.
You can hear with those marks coming up very quickly, but you have to really be on your mettle as to making sure you can respond quickly enough for every single movement.
And why Les is waiting, it's at the end of the movement, and sometimes the mark carries on for another mark down, so he waits in case there's a mistake or a glitch. And that's why you think he's been slow, but he's not. He's waiting until the right moment. See, like there it was on the 8, but it was what we call croup high, so it's shows a lack of engagement. The horse wanted to put his bum up rather than down. You'd like to have a ride on this, Chris, though?
It's a lovely horse, yeah, and many of Jorg's horses are always lovely horses like this, and looks well schooled, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looks like it's with him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It looks like you could actually just get on and ride it. Well, you could ride anything, Chris, but as mere mortals.
It's interesting, I saw that flying change late behind too, but it's difficult on this camera screen that we're watching. Such a fantastic sport that us riders love is criticising the judges from our armchairs or watching live, and when the gun's to your head and you're having to sit in there and judge, it's a difficult job.
It is a split-second decision, isn't it?
And you are sat in different places.
Yes.
And a flying change is, like for me, that was not through enough.
Yeah.
But on a different angle, it might have looked better. But there was enough hind leg separation.
To be fair, though, those scores have been coming in, and this is still a very, very accomplished mark, because he's going to go into the top sort of 4 or 5.
It's because of the ability to do that.
7.5.
Well, Jorg Kerbel, that is Les Smith.
7.5.
Giving 7.5 for Jorg's final halt. And Jorg Kerbel, Josera's Entertain You will confirm their score for you, but he is going to be very close to going into a podium position as things stand at the moment. It is Michael Young in third on 29.3, but Jorg, I think, will be absolutely delighted with that horse that is pretty experienced now, and actually heading towards the European Championships in Le Moulin. He is on one of the German lists as riders that are under consideration. So 29.7 in fourth for Jorg Kerbel and Josera's Entertain You. So that gives us our fifth sub-30 score so far. So that's riders scoring over 70% in this first phase, and Jorg Kerbel dismounts from Josera's Entertain You, and we'll hear from him with Hannah.
Jorg, you've gone into fourth position. Are you pleased with that?
Yeah, I'm very, very happy. This was the dressage of my life.
A 29.4, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I had never before with him a 2 before in the first, and I'm very, very happy with this.
And
He was a little bit fresh outside, but now he was really good.
And tell us about the jumping phases. Is he a good jumper?
Really good jumper. He jumped at home 135 and 140. Clear. He goes clear, and sometimes he has one down. So, yeah, I'm happy.
Best of luck for tomorrow, Jorg.
Thank you very much.
Well, Jorg Kerbel going into fourth here in Jardy, leg 4 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series. And if you are just joining us, then in the studio with me, 2018 Series champion Chris Burton and our dressage expert Mark Ruddock as well. If you've got any questions for Chris or for Mark, then make sure you send them in. Use the hashtag ERMEventing. Get in touch with at Event Rider Masters on any of social media channels. So we hope you're enjoying all of the action so far today. Mark, just a quick word on the test that we've seen so far. Felix Fogg, Calero, our leaders, deserve to be there.
Yeah, and again, I think it showed the horse experience, the rider's experience. He went for everything. The extended paces were very good. He knows the horse's strong points, extended canters, but he nailed the details of the halts and the rein backs, and that's training.
That is training, and it's played off, didn't it, for him, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we're perfectionists and we want things to go perfectly, but there's no such thing.
And actually, yes, he had a couple of mistakes, but do you think that almost gives him a little bit of extra oomph behind him because he knows that actually he can get better than 25.8?
We all love the horse. You know, I thought he rode it beautifully, and it's capable of even better. So, isn't that exciting for him?
Watch this space. Well, Mark, in terms of the combinations still to come forward, we've 6 combinations before the final session of riders. The first of those is this lady. It is Janelle Price and Gravine Darev. And it's a new ride for Janelle this year. Took on the horse internationally, actually was part of the New Zealand team in Tryon for the World Equestrian Games last year, ridden by Dan Jocelyn. But Janelle took on the ride this season. Top 10 finish in Wiesbaden. And Janelle currently sitting in second in the series with 46 points on the card. So she wants to pick up good series points here this weekend. Happy with that start, Mark?
Very. Yeah.
Yeah, a very good hold.
Engaged, light, horse squared itself up.
Stayed uphill as she halted.
I'd say it's the best hold we've seen, but yeah. Go on.
I was just going to say to Chris, in terms of taking on a horse that's obviously competed at this level with somebody else, how long does it take to build the sort of partnership that you would need for this level of competition?
Yeah, it's a strange dynamic, and some riders will say it can take up to 2 years even to make them feel like they're really your horse, and maybe that's the case for all 3 phases. However, some riders just tend to gel very quickly with horses, and they straight away hit it off together. So it depends on the horse and the rider, I'd say.
Well, they scored 33.9 in Wiesbaden, 30.2 they scored at Barbary last weekend before withdrawing.
I can see the improvement in the way of going since Wiesbaden. The horse is stronger and has more self-carriage and much more lightness. And obviously that's the slide in the marks from Wiesbaden to Barbary.
Oh,
that was a shame.
It was for a 10, then stepped its front legs forward.
And as a rider, you go, really? Did you have to do that?
Yeah.
And I think at Wiesbaden, she hadn't ridden a test on it. Barely.
No, she'd done a couple of national events. Blythe Tate, Tim Price watching on. Tim will be the penultimate rider to go with Falco. First time we had a Price Event Rider Masters leg winner in our Ville just a few weeks ago.
The whole way of going looks like a Janelle bonded horse already now. In Wiesbaden, it looked like they were finding each other.
Yes, absolutely. So she's done a great job.
Now, in terms of Echo Ratings numbers, their 6-run average for this horse would be very much on a par with where York Kerbel was. So York ended up in 4th with 29.3. Janelle would be very happy to go anywhere near to that territory, and that's certainly where she is at the moment.
I mean, the trouble is you pick up the canter, then you're into the risk category with the changes. I mean, that's the, you know.
Yes, but the horse looks like he's with her today, like you've said. And as you mentioned earlier, I think without getting too philosophical, eventing horses should be more with their riders in canter, because they're not bred to trot, they're bred to gallop and jump.
No. And to be fair, for a Grand Prix dressage horse, we don't really care about their trot. You care that they canter.
Is that right?
Yeah. What is the easiest pace to train?
Trot.
The trot.
You can make a pony look amazing.
In trot.
Yeah. Anybody can make a pony look amazing.
Well, he says anybody. I think there's a little bit more skill involved in that.
But you can always improve it.
But basically, their canter is what their canter is.
Yeah.
Did she ride that very carefully,
She
Mark?
did.
Tactfully.
Very measured. I think she probably thought to herself, why am I riding backwards to this change? But it maybe is late if she goes for too big a canter. I'm not doubting Janelle.
$7.5. Sorry.
Plenty of 7.5s coming in this test, and it looks very much on track to be a personal best for the combination. Better change?
No, but for different reasons. That was more onto the hand. I think the changes are still the horse's weak point, because you could tell by the way she's having to prepare. They were clean, but she's not trusting the horse enough yet. So
both times she went to a lot of effort to set it up, didn't she?
Yeah.
So they'll come.
They'll come. I think she had a late one in Wiesbaden. But
your memory's better than mine there, Mark. Your memory is better than mine.
The whole way of going is amazing.
Well, Janelle Price, Cohen Darev coming up their final centre line. They are looking to be into the sub-30 territory for the first time as a partnership internationally, and this could be a big test for Janelle's challenge in the 2019 series. She was on the series podium back in 2016, finished in 3rd place, and a 9 for her final halt. So she should be easily sub-30, and actually the current average of the field is 29.9, likely to get even lower as we head into these final combinations. And Janelle Price, Cohen Darev, I think she'll be pretty pleased with that, Mark, because the horse is improving every time out.
Oh, I mean, you can see what she's gone and done her homework. I don't know when she does her homework. She never seems to be at home, but she clearly obviously does her homework.
Of course she does.
Of course she does, clearly. And you could see it was more of a partnership.
Well, a big smile from Janelle Price, 28.7. She goes into third with Gravinder. They have Tim on hand as well. We'll see him a little bit later on. But I think she'll be pretty happy with that, Hannah.
Janelle, you've gone into third, 28.7. You look so together as a combination.
Well, I have to confess, I just happened to be watching the live streaming a bit earlier, and a certain Mr. Tate said that I wasn't going to get near the leaders, so I thought I'd better do it just for him.
And he stood there and watched you and ate his words. I think you're fine. You must be delighted.
Yeah, look, not taking it away from the horse. We are a fairly new relationship, but every week is better than the one before, and he's got a super brain, and we're starting to form a bit of a friendship now, which is great.
Compared to Wiesbaden, it's like a different combination. It's fantastic. You've obviously worked so hard.
Yeah, it's a good yardstick, isn't it? So from League 2 to 4, we've made some great progress. Look out for us.
Look out for you tomorrow. Good luck, Janelle.
Thank you.
She's a fairly fierce competitor, Chris Burton, isn't she?
She's fantastic, isn't she? She's so tenacious and wonderful sports person.
Well, she'll be looking to get some series points and put some pressure on you as we head into Mill Street. As next to come forward, it is 2003 European champion Nicolas Touzaint with Vendée Globe Jacques. Now, Nicolas has been a real superstar for French eventing. He, of course, won that European title back in 2003. Still remains the only French rider to win badminton horse trials. Comes forward with Vendée Globe Jacques, who is slightly younger in his string of horses, looking to challenge the lead of Felix Fogg.
Didn't start so great with the lack of engagement into the very progressive transition. I'm questioning why he has a double bridle on, but because the mouth is very unsteady and he's not really connected and supple enough.
Chris, as a rider, when do you choose to go to double bridle?
I'm a big fan of the double bridle. I will take the opportunity to say that I use a double bridle for those horses that come too much behind and won't take the contact. I use them to help take the nose forward. I think when it's used the other way for horses they're struggling to make ground, I think it's an incorrect use of the double.
And it's just the way the horse is quite unsettled in the mouth, and like there you can see the mouth opening. And that's why, as from a judge's point of view, you're a bit like, why are you wearing a double? Because clearly your horse is very fussy and keeps opening its mouth, and I'm taking another mark off you, and I don't want to, but and I feel like they're in the rhythm and things because of the lack of connection, the suppleness. Yes, it was correct, it was half past, but it wasn't consistent. And I think that says a lot as he walked, and it has the snatch, and I think sometimes when they're tense, the double bridle can highlight the tension as well.
I'm looking forward to seeing the canter, though. It's obviously a very athletic horse, and I'm sure it's a proper cross-country horse by the shape of him.
And a very good walker, actually.
$7.5. $7.0. $7.0.
Good solid sevens from Les Smith.
The walk program was very nice.
And actually, from 4 runs at this level, the horse averages 32.0. So very much sort of in that range.
The canter is better in the carriage, but this is that was very bizarrely positioned.
Yeah, trying to use the diagonal a little bit to help him get the change.
Are you meant to go across that? Because obviously the first part of that movement is the serpentine, where you're meant to go perpendicular across the centre line. Should you be on the diagonal for that change?
No, you should be 1 stride straight, 2 strides straight.
Yeah, carrying on. Yeah. So the horse was quite green, so it goes for the diagonal to aid it, and it did aid it in the clean change. But I would be thinking he shouldn't get more than a 6 because he cheated. But we would say it's only his 4th run.
It's 5th at this level.
So it's very, and sometimes the riders will be like, they won't notice. I'm sure they won't notice.
Oh, so you judges do actually notice that sort of thing.
Judges notice
Here we are
everything.
thinking we're being so crafty.
I know. And it sort of annoys you as a judge. You're like, I'm not that stupid.
So they've only got...
You see, like there?
It's got a good change in.
It's got a very good. It's got a beautiful canter.
So
I'm surprised it needs to do that because the change looks actually quite secure.
They may only have 4 runs at this level, but they do already have 1 win under their belts as well. They actually took the win in Verano a little bit earlier on this year. Finished that occasion on 28.9, which was their dressage score. And they're going to be close to breaking into the 20s here again.
He's an excellent rider, isn't he?
He's had a quieter couple of years because particularly sort of 2003 when he won his European title, he was unlucky to miss out on an Olympic gold medal individually in Athens. But he's got team medals from the Olympics, and actually
there was no one better at the time, was there?
No,
He was
he was the legend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Nicolas Touzaint and Vendée Globe Jacques completing their test. And we'll get a score for them in just a moment. If you are just joining us here in Jardy, leg 4 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series, we have 4 more combinations to go before the final break of the day. So 13 combinations to come forward in total. And in the studio with us, Chris Burton and Mark Ruddock giving us their expert opinion on all of the combinations coming forward in the dressage. We've got all of the echo ratings numbers for you as well. And Nicolas Touzaint and Vendée Globe Jacques finish their test in the first phase here in Jardy. And we'll go to Hannah for his thoughts.
Nicolas, now we're going to talk to him. I know your English is not so great, so we have a translator here. Are you pleased with that test?
Je suis très très satisfait parce que c'est un cheval qui arrive très progressivement à ce niveau-là. Et c'est la meilleure reprise qu'il ait faite jusque-là, donc c'est vraiment toujours en progression, donc je suis vraiment content. Ouais.
He's very satisfied with his horse because they did a lot of work today, and it was the best test he did today, so he's very satisfied.
And in the next 2 phases, we have some jumping. It's a very athletic-looking horse. Is that a strong phase for you?
Les 2 prochaines étapes, c'est un cheval très athlétique de phase. Est-ce que ça va aller?
Ouais, j'espère que ça va aller, on va tout faire pour. C'est un cheval qui doit pouvoir aller bien aussi après, mais comme je disais, il est vraiment jeune à ce niveau-là, donc il peut encore, il n'a pas toute l'expérience, donc je le découvre encore un peu. Mais bon, si je l'ai amené là, c'est que je le crois prêt à faire ça bien.
He's confident with his horse. He said he's still young. It's the first time he's doing that with him, so he's still learning with him. But he's confident with him, and he thinks it's going to be great.
Okay. Best of luck. Bonne chance.
Merci beaucoup.
Nicolas Touzaint really is a legend of the eventing sport. Well, there's lots of ways that you can get involved in the Event Rider Masters Series, from playing echo rating stacks to spectator judging up, or joining the Event Rider Masters Platinum Club, and you can get involved in all manner of things. Lots of behind the scenes action, some exclusive content, and you can get some really, really exclusive yard tours as well. Bill Levitt one coming up on the 11th of August, and Laura Collett on the 23rd of July. So if you'd like to go and have a look around either of those yards, go to eventridermasters.tv for more information. Now it is Arnaud Boiteau and Quariano for France. Arnaud has been a huge part of French eventing over the years, and Quariano, a horse that has good Jardy form as well. He actually was on the team with Nicolas Touzaint that won team gold at the Athens Olympic Games back in 2004. Had that wonderful horse, Expo de Moulin.
I like that medium trot. It just had everything you want. It lifted, it had lightness, and it had a clear rhythm, and had a good frame. And it went from marker to marker, and it looked easy and easy to sit on, which makes a big difference.
I've always loved this horse. I've always been a fan of this one. It's a lovely cadence and a lovely way of going.
Just looks very naturally athletic. And it's quite nice to have a horse, isn't it? When you come on a diagonal, you know actually you have a medium and you have an extended trot, rather than those ones when you're going to fake it.
Wondering about how long I have to bounce to get to K.
Yeah. You know, some horses just aren't gifted at medium trots, are they?
No, well, that's really interesting.
Its legs are at the moment. But some horses, like when they're 3, they're just
Naturals.
Just naturals. Yeah. They're running to Canterbury doing this lovely medium trot.
Can't stop them.
Just can't stop them. So for me, it just needs to be more laterally supple. So just have more bend in the half passes and especially to the left. But that's why it's not on the 8s. But it's funny, out of all this, the first batch, there was a lot of horses that were very tense, which I presume are the green horses, where we've not had any real tension in this second lot. No, I think this morning. There was a lot of tense horses. These are more pros, aren't they? These horses.
It makes a difference when horses have sort of competed either here previously at Jardy or
could have more
been
over
exposed
track.
To bigger
6.5,
atmospheres.
7.0, 7.0.
It's just the bend. Needs to be more bendy.
It's like lovely canter, isn't it?
See the difference. Chris is like, it's lovely canter. I'm like, it's not bending. But it's not bending, Chris. Sod how nice the canter is. It's not bending. I'm expecting a really nice change.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a bit of a poor line though.
Or a strategic line.
I don't think this horse needs strategic lines. I'd say it's fairly experienced enough. It has such airtime in the canter.
Yes. And the hind leg going right underneath the horse.
And there's that moment, like true moment of suspension. And you would expect this can jump.
It is a very good jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And was actually 6th here at Jardy in 2017, 13th in this Event Motor Masters class 12 months ago as well. And I think I'm right in saying they added just one solitary time penalty in the show jumping to their total score.
I actually know that he's a Holsteiner, so it's a French guy on a German horse.
Because that's allowed.
By Coriano?
Yeah.
By Coriano, Chris?
Yeah, he's Holstein breeding. Yeah.
But they only were allowed to ride Celle Française. Just a little bit, slightly getting a little bit strong and trying to pull down a little bit if you've been fussy as to why. But then there, he's able to ride it uphill in the extended canter. So, I'm going to ask Chris, do you make a conscious decision on that half circle to actually go to medium, or do you just keep kicking?
No, I was taught through the Australian High Performance Program, go for the extended canter and then just feel a balance that you keep riding.
The circle will do the
The circle will take you back to medium, because when you take them back, and especially if you haven't gone for enough in extended, then you look silly when you're riding a working canter.
Yeah, that's how I would teach people, but I thought I'd ask how you'd... Because horses will slightly back off galloping around a half circle.
Yes.
Well, Arnaud Boiteau and Coriano completing their test should be around 30.1. Well, Echo Racing's actually slipped me a piece of paper before this horse went into dressage and said he thought it would be around 30. And so he's got it absolutely spot on. We'll confirm his score in a moment. But Arnaud Boiteau completes his test. 3 more combinations to come forward before the break. The first of those, Sebastien Cavaillon for France in just a moment. But Arnaud Boiteau, who goes into 5th with a very good score of 29.8. So very good score for him. He goes 5th. And actually, you guys at home, spot on with the judges on the SAP Spectator judging app, also marking him with 29.8. Well, let's go and hear Arnaud's thoughts with Hannah.
Arnaud, how was that for you? You were just snuck inside 30, 29.8.
Yes, not too bad, because the horse is not so easy on the flat. He's a good, very good jumper, but not so easy. Sometimes he's a bit spooky like that. So I'm quite happy today, especially because we've got plenty of good riders here, and I'm happy. Yeah. He's not a horse to win the dressage test, but he can be very good at the last 2, so everything is possible.
Well, you're currently sitting in 5th, and that score should put you there or thereabouts.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. And I wasn't sure the horse should be good enough to do that today, because It's hot, and this is the middle of the season, and the horse is a bit bored sometimes, so I'm happy, especially because tomorrow there is plenty of work to do, so everything is possible.
Well, good luck with the jumping phases tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Well, next to come forward in just a moment will be Sebastien Cavaillon, but welcome to Jardy if you are just joining us. Glorious sunshine here, and we're enjoying a day of excellent dressage competition as well. All of the show jumping and cross-country action taking place tomorrow, and that will all be streamed live and free, eventridermasters.tv. And there's a bit of a competition going for you this weekend as well, because if you can spot the Event Rider Masters Wilbury Wonder Pony Masterberry, who will be hidden somewhere in each of our broadcast coverages. So somewhere during our dressage coverage, Masterberry will be. And if you can spot him, then you can win a branded Event Rider Masters water bottle. So make sure you get in touch with us on Event Rider Masters on any of our social feeds, and we would love to hear from you. Message us the location. And I have to admit, I caught a little sight earlier on, and you have to look pretty hard, so make sure you get involved with that. If you're just joining us, Chris Burton, Mark Ruddock in the studio with me. It is Felix Fogg Calero out in front, 25.8, and next to come forward with their challenge, it is Sebastien Cavaillon for France with Sarah Dargouche. This is a horse that actually went really well at Badminton this spring to finish in 27th position, was top 15 at Pau last year, and 13-year-old mare by quite easy, very much, I imagine, on the radar of the French selectors heading towards those European Championships in Le Moulin this year. Chris, how important is it, that first impression, you come down the centre line, how much do you want to say to your judges, sit up, take notes?
Of course we do. It's such a powerful movement if you are able to get their attention from the first movement. But then if you can go across the diagonal like that, your quid's in.
Yep. Done 2 movements, nailed those.
Yeah. I've clocked this one around the tracks. I'm a sucker for a great looking mare like this, who wouldn't be?
You've got a big enough collection.
Yeah, you've seen my wife, you shouldn't be surprised.
I know, she's, yeah.
You like riding mares as well, don't you?
I don't know, they just tend to come my way. I would never be put off by a mare.
What is different about riding a mare to a gelding?
I've been so fortunate during my career to have mares that have tried so hard for me, and when they do, they tend to give that bit more than a gelding, I think.
Well, she's certainly giving everything in that extended trot.
She was like hot to trot then, wasn't she? But really good in the frame, really good expression. They may want more in the hind leg, but it was the willingness, and I bet that feels gorgeous to ride. It'll feel like you're on air.
7.0.
The angle of that shoulder in, Mark, what is the ideal angle that you want?
Just what she just did, actually. 3 tracks, so if you think a horse goes on 2 tracks when it's trotting in a straight line, you just bring the inside foreleg onto its own line, the outside foreleg and the inside foreleg on the same line, and then the outside foreleg on its own line. And it needs to be shoulder in, not quarters out. But you see a lot of people push the bottom out, and that's when you see them knocking the boards over. Big judges give away when you're knocking the boards over.
Kind of obvious then.
Yeah.
And the other common theme you see is people having a stiff horse through the back and through the neck, and then you get 4 tracks down.
Yeah. It's like a leg yield on the board. Yeah. But that was a very, very good angle. We couldn't see what the mouth was doing, but it was very, very, very good positioning. People argue that you should, if you haven't got that judge sat on this side, you need to make this line a wider angle so the judge can see it on the far side, but I think you're just playing too much mind games. You've got to think around. Just do it properly.
I've had that result though, where I've really tried for 3 tracks and they've said not enough because they're on the other side.
Yeah. But then they do it to everybody, so it's fine.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
She has a good canter too, doesn't she? I just think she's such a spectacular looking mare.
I think we may have a trouble with the change.
Starting to get
Why
a bit
do you say
wound
that?
up.
You can see she's just getting a bit bubbly, a bit hot. She's snorting. Yeah.
Oh.
She didn't have to be that dramatic though, did she?
I don't want to say the wrong thing because my memory's not that good, but I feel like there's a thoroughbred mother on this mare too, so she has
By
all
quite
the blood.
easy.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's full thoroughbred?
I think very close to.
Yeah. Or maybe a little bit Celle Francais.
Yeah.
But you could see around that Serpentine, she was like, I know what's coming. And that just pushed it there. She got 3. And I think 3 was very kind. And the trouble is, he's now got to get through this next sequence. So he's taken the bend out already. And he's just saying to her, could you actually just play the game, please?
How much, if your first change doesn't go to plan, Chris, do you either change your plan for the second, or does it concern you anymore?
No, I wouldn't say it would bother you. You'd think, well, I didn't get that one right. You continue riding the test and often get the next one better.
Like that. And horses, again, have one side where they are trickier. You know, and I think that's where it's annoying. She showed the ability of, she just wanted to have fun.
It was tough for him there. There was clearly she knew the extended canter was coming up, and he knew he was running out of control, wasn't he?
So he had to just say to her, sorry,
back
love.
off, yeah.
Not today. You've ruined one movement. You're not ruining another. Yeah.
Well, Sebastien Cavaillon, Haras Du Jardy finished their test trending 32.2, and he'll perhaps be a little bit rueful of that mark because the early part of his test was very promising in the 20s.
He will be, because it was just a tension thing. It wasn't a training thing. He'll be very, in a class like this horse has got the ability.
Can you ever replicate this kind of atmosphere at home, Chris? Can you do anything with your horses to kind of train tension almost?
No, but you know, if you have things going on around your yard, you should just learn to keep riding through it. You know, you'll speak to many top dressage trainers and they'll say, no, keep riding, learn to train yourself and train your horse.
Yeah.
It would be frustrating for him because he knows that mare's got something really special in her, and I'm sure every judge wanted to give them the high marks, and today they couldn't.
Well, they're still well in touch. 31.8 in 10th position, Sebastien Cavaillon, Haras Du Jardy, and we'll go and hear his thoughts with Hannah.
Sebastien, 31.8. Your test started very well. Second half, how did you feel?
A little bit tense in the middle. Good work on trot. Okay, she walked okay. For the galop, for the counter, she's a little bit tense on the beginning of the work, and after, okay, she relaxed and she finished good. I would like to take more points in the trot part, but no. Okay, it's a game.
And tomorrow, jumping, she a good jumper?
She's a good jumper, yes and not. She make 1 down at badminton, 1 down at Saumur, 2 down at Pau, clear round at Perry. Okay, she can make the clear round and she can do a 1 down.
Okay, well, we'll see what tomorrow brings, Sebastien. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, next to come forward, it is Tahina Dazil, Camille Lejeune for France. The home nation, a really strong field here, and this is a combination that are very experienced. Camille ranked 57 in the world at the moment, and a combination they're actually 8th at Belton a little bit earlier on this year, 16th at Burley at the end of last season, and also have been top 15 at Le Moulin 5-star. So one of the more experienced French combinations.
And a really, really good start, really positive, lovely medium trots. Conformationally, this horse is slightly built with a bum a little bit higher than the front, so it doesn't make it that easy for the horse to engage, but actually the horse really tries to use its hind legs.
But we're judging eventing horses too, so we'll overlook that a bit, won't we?
Well, we will overlook that, yes. We will.
Well, and just as we said that, he skipped in the extended trot, but
yeah, which is
for me, the shoulder in was the example of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
You know, and it's like the detail of the halts. It was a shame there was a little miscommunication. I completely agree with the 9. There was a miscommunication. I think the horse went a little bit before him. But we're not about. That's a shame. Just lost the angle. Just lost the positioning. But the horse is very supple.
Yes. Very athletic.
Very athletic. And we will forgive it for being. But I was saying why it's not going to be a 10.
Okay, well done.
Doesn't mean horrible.
It's having bad luck in this test. It just tripped there too. The same did an excellent halt and then took a step backwards for whatever reason before the rein back.
So this walk promises a lot. The relaxation. And you can see the overtrack clearly, and the horse actually marching out to the bridle. And him offering his hand forward to the horse. And it looked like pure relaxation. And that was already smooth and easy. It looks very on him, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? The same with the transition to canter. Absolutely, when he said.
And she's a mare that's been on really good form this year. Actually had a personal best 25.0 at the level below in Renswoud, and you can see where that's come from.
Yeah, you can, because it doesn't have a weak link in the paces. It's very supple. The canter's beautiful, and it looks really rideable. Yeah, okay, could have been more through behind, but again. And then, but where this horse is a little bit on the shoulder, she allows him to take the half halt and re-engage and help. She allows his help. Where some horses are a bit like, I don't want your help, thank you. And like there, she takes the half halt. She takes the weight back.
Yes, she showed an
She's
uphill
manageable.
transition.
Yeah. So many mares as well these days, isn't there?
There are actually, and that you see more and more competing at top level.
Yeah. A couple of ginger ones as well.
Be careful there, Mark. Be careful where you go with that one. And actually, she is trending to go into second as things stand at the moment. The leader is Calero Felix Fogg, 25.8. Camille Lejeune, Tahina Dazil at the moment trending 28.1. Esprit de la Loge 28.2 in third.
But it's been mistake-free other than a couple of little trips, which have been a shame because they would slightly knock half a mark off.
Well, this could be a big test for the French selectors.
Yeah. I think the French selectors will be happy with what they're seeing
I think
today.
they'll be very happy with this.
I think they'll be happy with all those their French horses. Even smiling, look.
Well, Thierry Touzant, huge part of the French team for a number of years now, and Camille Lejeune will be absolutely delighted with that test. Tahina Dazil, she really did respond beautifully, and will confirm his score. But looking to go into second as things stand at the moment. Won't challenge the leader Felix Fogg and Calero 25.8, but that is still a very strong performance, and they will be looking to finish as close to that as possible. Been a while since we had a French winner in the Event Rider Masters series. Both Thomas Carlyle, Astier, Nicolas have topped the podium previously, and they would dearly love to do so on home turf for the first time here in Jardy. 27.9 into second for Camille Lejeune, and that is really, really promising for the rest of their competition. The home crowd will love that one, and Camille goes second. I think he'll be pretty happy with that one, Hannah.
I'm sure he will be. A magnificent test. Camille, you've gone into second place. How does it feel? You must be delighted.
I feel quite good. She was always with me. She was very focused on myself. I had good fun.
You've got quite a crowd here cheering you on. There are a lot of cheers at the end of your test.
I live 50 minutes far from here. Then it's very easy for my owners to come here. Then I'm very happy to share these moments with them.
And looking ahead to tomorrow, the jumping phases, what are your expectations?
Yeah, clear round.
A double clear round. Finish on your dressage.
Yes. That is my goal.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, just one more combination to go before the final break of the day here, and it is one that our previous Event Rider Masters winners as well. It is Sarah Cohen with Liz Jones and Pressy Sparks Treason. They won Wiesbaden 2017. They were fourth in Wiesbaden this year. They would absolutely love to be on the podium here. This is the only horse that Sarah competes at top level now. And how difficult is that, Chris? Because obviously when you're riding a lot of horses, you get a lot of match practice. How is it to come out at this level with one horse?
Yeah, there's no doubt that makes it tougher for sure. However, it's a wonderful thing when you've got a good partnership with a horse, and Sarah, a very talented rider, so it can also be, it can be equally as enjoyable and equally as simple.
And he really is part of the family Treason. He's been an absolute superstar for Sarah over the years and actually took her to a second place finish in the series in 2017. So she's in equal third in the series so far this year with Bill Levitt, currently both on 42 points. She had a good top 10 finish in Arviel as well. And this is a horse I know, Mark, you were really looking forward to seeing.
I just think like their partnership and actually, I don't want to jinx it. So just their partnership and their harmony and I think like they're an inspiration, aren't they?
I think so. I think she's come on, Sarah. Good luck. And
yeah,
she's got some.
You know, she drags him here and in the lorry, sleeps in the lorry. She just.
Alfie, her son, is out here with her this weekend.
Missing her child, losing its tooth, and yeah, I just think she's an inspiration. And she's so nice.
She's lovely. She's one of the nicest people on the circuit, and
she
ride. Picks The Greatest Showman for her dressage
great music.
Yes.
Yeah. She's got him looking really good, hasn't she? He's uphill and he looks light and fantastic.
Fair positioning, 7.5. Needs more suppleness, 6.5.
And this is a horse that actually his canter work, Mark, is a real highlight of his test. So she'll be looking
Frame
for...
could be a little longer.
Looking to improve her score even more as the test progresses.
7.0.
I think once she gets into I mean, not that it has doesn't have a bad trot, but actually the walk and the canter really picks him up.
7.5. 7.5.
But for me, like the last few we've seen, we've had like harmony, we've had partnerships in the last few horses.
Yes, exactly. And the riders are so good these days. They trot around to A and they smack out a very good square hold, and then they make 5 steps of rein back. And it's hard to do. We all forget how difficult it can be.
He was more supple than normal. But it's like the zone, isn't it? Like the ones that've got the good scores have been in a zone. The riders, the horses, like the hospitality could fall down, and I don't think they'd even notice.
Again, I think that's a good walk, isn't it?
I think it's a very, very good walk. Like good over track and willing. She had to give him a little nudge there, but it's all...
And 2/8 for the extended walk
Yeah.
as well. We've not seen many of those.
No, it was the relaxation that she had well.
You said she had to give him a little nudge. Would the judge be bothered by that?
No,
Surely
because
that's
you think
just
actually,
riding.
because she'd had such a good walk, she'd then gone, right, come on, back in the room.
Good.
Get on your... Yeah. You know, and back to it.
Yes, because the judges, they're horse people, they're happy to see you prepare the move.
Exactly. And they're a bit like, and because I've given an 8 for a walk, I expect you to say to him, right, come on. Like...
Oh, this is good. I'm learning a lot.
It's helpful being a rider sitting in here, isn't it?
No, we want to see... Very good.
Yeah, good change.
Very good change. And we like preparation. We like to see you doing... Like... And it's like when you see you prepare for a serpentine and the change doesn't come off, I think, oh, that was a really shame.
She really went for that extended canter there, didn't she? Yeah. I hope they reward that well.
And then it's the way he'll just... It's the ground cover he has. And the transition is very
Beautifully
neat.
back to her.
Yeah. Bend him, Sarah.
Well...
No. Yeah, an 8 for the medium canter. And it is the ones we've seen that are in the lead. They've looked rideable. The rider's like, she's here. She's able to make everything better. She's able to say to him, right, come on, more. And not just sit there and be passive. And the same with the previous horse. She's like, come on.
It's a good change, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just like so round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best changes of the day.
Well, this is a test that is really building those big scores and is creeping ever lower. Sarah Cohen would be absolutely delighted if she could be sub 28.
That was so on the aid.
Yeah, surely, yeah.
And you say a good horse wouldn't mind if the hospitality felt down, Mark, but actually there's a huge aeroplane or helicopter going over the top, and Treason has not batted an eyelid.
But you see where his ears are?
This is a massive test from the Wiesbaden 2017 victor, and for her series challenge will do her absolutely no harm at all. Sarah Cohen delivers in the first phase with Treason, and she'll be absolutely delighted with that. Son Alfie watching on, and I'm sure we'll hear from him a little bit later on as well, because a huge supporter, always so delighted to come to an event and watch Mum in action. But Sarah Cohen and Treason should go second at the worst with Treason, and she'll be absolutely delighted with that. Chris, that was there was so much to like from that test, but particularly the second half.
Yeah, again, I would be a terrible judge. I could have given 10 for that flying change and big marks for the extended canter.
Or 26.4. Sarah Cohen goes into second. She is in touch with the leaders, and Treason, she'll be absolutely delighted with that. Looking forward to hearing her thoughts on that test with Hannah.
Let's get a little word from her. Sarah, Alfie and I, go on, give him a cuddle. We were watching on. You've gone into second with a 26.4. Awesome.
Yeah, he was cool in there. I mean, there's still, we're perfectionists, so still we know there's more there. But yeah, he was great in there. He is so rideable. I just have to be brave. And, we only get to, do it now and again. So we just enjoy it, enjoy being here, enjoy the whole atmosphere. But I'm really pleased with him. I mean, he's an absolute star. He's a legend, so...
You're lying in third overall, and we needed a good test for you to carry on that quest for the overall series points. And, you've started brilliant.
Yeah, it's all about the points, really, at the end, getting a top 10 finish, really, to get those points. But, there's the good ones to come now, but we've done the best we can, at the moment, and got to leave those poles up in the morning.
And Alfie, I believe you've got a little wager going with Derm from Echo Ratings, haven't you? So it looks like you're on track with your mum's score.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you think she did?
Very well.
Well, there you go. What an accolade. Congratulations, Sarah.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks.
Well, I think Dan will be gritting his teeth a little bit. He'll be delighted for Cutty, but Alfie, I think, has seen him right there. Sarah Cohen goes into second with Touzaint, and it is Felix Fogg that leads the way with Calero, 25.8. The French holding good positions in third and fourth. Camille Lejeune, Tahina Desile, one that really caught the eye from that session. Janelle Price, huge improvement with Gravine Dadev as well. And Alex Bragg, Alcatraz, of course, the defending champion. Alex still well in touch. A little bit further on down the leaderboard, Sidney Dufresne really disappointed with Tresor Mail's score. The horse just a couple too many mistakes that cost them dearly, 33.4. And Nicolas Touzaint first in this morning, 35.5. But it is very, very tight on that leaderboard, and all horses scoring below 37.3 really does set the competition up. Just 12 penalties covering the entire field as things stand at the moment. So we are 2/3 of the way through the dressage. We hope you've enjoyed all of the action so far. In the studio with me, Chris Burton, 2018 Series Champion, Mark Ruddock, Dressage Expert. So let's just take a moment from that session. We've just seen Sarah Cohen go into second, Chris. And actually there was a huge amount from that test alike. What was it that meant she couldn't quite get the lead from Felix Fogg?
Oh, that's hard to say. You've put me on the spot there, because I would have been able to give easy marks if I was judging. I would have given some high marks for sure. But well done, Sarah. We're so excited for her and so happy for her. And didn't we see some good dressage riding in that group?
We did. Yeah, it was a privilege actually, wasn't it?
Felix Fogg, Calero, Mark. There was even more to come from that test. 25.8, he is the one to beat at the moment, and even more to come in the future.
I'd be thinking he could knock another 2%. I do. There is still a little bit more. He had little blips that he could go and detail.
Who else was a highlight from you for that session? I think for me, Janelle Price, Gravine Dadev. The horse has improved internationally every time out this year. That's a big call.
And I think if she then makes that improvement again to Mill Street, then yeah, and again, the improvement is amazing. She gets most improved award.
She's certainly the rider capable of it too, so look out for the rest of us.
Absolutely, and looking forward to this afternoon session. Obviously we've got the likes of Gemma Tattersall, Tebow Vallette, Emily King. Who are you most looking forward to seeing?
Actually all of them.
Yeah, we haven't seen Emily's one out, or certainly not in ERM for a while, and she can really ride a dressage test, that girl,
can,
and he's a super horse.
Brookley is a bit of a dark horse here this weekend, because I've put him on the podium in the Eventing podcast, and I think he's going to be on the podium this weekend. Emily will have to deliver the goods in the dressage a little bit later on this afternoon. But in terms of the numbers, let's go and see how things are stacking up in Echo Racing's corner.
Things are stacking up well, Nicole. I think we're pretty much on track with where we expected. We have seen, we were talking about the 6-run average before that, we're now across the whole competition averaging 31.5. That's going to get lower as we go into the final session. It's playing up exactly as we expected Du Jardy to be the lowest in the last 2 years. It's going to be very low this year. We're 1.6 below expecteds, 2 below 6-run averages. When we look at just that session there, 29.8 was the average we saw there, and again almost 2 marks below the expecteds. Good news, Nicole. Felix Fogg's currently leading. I'm expecting him to probably end up in about 5th position after going into tomorrow, which means there's probably, I would say, 5 tests at least going to be in that 25 and below mark. I think Gemma could touch off the top 5 ever at the venue, which will be in around a 23 mark. I don't think she'll get as low as Bettina got in 2017 on Senior Medicott, which was just above 20. So a lot more excitement to come. We've had great excitement building across that phase, some brilliant tests, but some more to come.
Well, a number of big names still in this final session of dressage. Chris Burton, huge disappointment you're not competing here this weekend. We hope Lawtown Chloe has a speedy recovery, and we'll see you in Mill Street.
We certainly will. Thank you for having me in.
Well, it's been a pleasure. And Mark, you're going to be back with us for this final session of dressage. So we're going to have a short break now, but we still have 9 of the best combinations in the field. So you come forward. We'll be back in 15 minutes. Make sure you join us then. You won't miss any of the action.
Attentive.
Yeah.
Well, Felix Fogg, Calero, one of 2 Swiss combinations in the field.
I'm sorry, Felix, what I've just done to you.
Curse of the commentator hasn't happened yet, Mark. It's okay. little bit of a distraction in the halt, perhaps?
No, I think I'd have to give that a decent mark. It wasn't a good halt, and then he corrected it into a more square halt, so you have to pay that.
How much, as a rider, Chris, if something happens in training, you can correct it. How much of a rider can you ever do that in a test?
Yeah, well, when you have very good knowledge of the horse and a good knowledge of dressage, you should be able to correct things like a halt, for example. You should be able to feel through your seat if it's not square, or if it is square, however. It's hard to do.
But I think that's the difference between good riders to professional riders. You can school a horse still through a test.
Correct, yeah. Yes, exactly.
Perhaps saw that with Tom McEwen a little bit earlier on, giving the horse a really good experience. Well, three members of our ground jury at the moment, at C, Eric Levy, at M, Christina Kingsport, and at B, Les Smith. And we're going to listen in to Les Smith at points throughout this afternoon's broadcast because he is mic'd up, so we can go in and listen to the scores that he puts in.
You're fine, don't worry. 7.5. 9.0.
Ooh, a 9 from Les. And why, Mark?
The legs, well, we could only see the legs. The legs were very clear, very diagonal, and I presume, obviously, the 9, the mouth was very good as well.
Each step, even in the rein back, I was watching it thinking, well, that's a high mark, surely.
You know, that's a real submission, that mark. Rein back.
Ultimately staying with him too, staying with Felix. He can see something in this corner every time he turns down this end, he pricks his ears, but then he stays at work and goes,
okay, I'm over it.
I'll listen to the rider.
And when you're judging a horse like this, you start to relax judging them as well, and actually the marks do pop out of you easier because you start to enjoy it as a judge, and you're quite like the riders when they're riding forward, you're believing and go with it, and it is like you feel like you're on the journey together. I know riders don't think the judges are on the side, but you do get involved.
He got a 9 from Les at B for his extended walk as well there. These marks are really bringing that penalty score down, and he is well on track to go into the lead here.
It'll just be interesting in this serpentine because he's spooky in this corner and he's got to look to what he doesn't like. Yeah, just cleverly shaved that corner.
Well ridden.
Well ridden.
Switzerland, one of those countries chasing Olympic qualification at the Europeans later this year, and this combination very much a part of those plans. Happy with that change, Mark?
Yeah. I think he could have been braver and ridden it more forward and gone for a bigger one, but it's still going 8. He prepared it through the serpentine and he made it supple through the neck on the turns, and you would have been disappointed as a rider if that change hadn't come off.
He's still feeling fresh, this horse. He's ready to run.
Yeah, so 2/8 for the change. And I'd sort of ignore what it did in that medium canter because I think it was just more like jolly rather than resistant. And I think from a judging point of view, when they make mistakes like that, you don't mind because actually it was a jolly it was jolly, not just being a git. So I shouldn't say that word probably.
But you're absolutely right. The horse was doing its movement.
Yeah, happily.
Had a bit of a squeal and a play and did it with a smile on his face.
So like there, they'll say croup high, so that would be in the range of 5s. I think he tried to ride it forward, which he hadn't done the time before, to get a bigger mark, so he'd be slightly disappointed because he went for it, but it's just the ground cover this horse has and the gears. Like it comes back, it goes and comes back, and it has ground cover and it's just easy.
Well, this is a huge test for Switzerland. Felix Fogg, Calero going to the top of the leaderboard. They salute to our ground jury and a round of applause from those watching on because that really was an impressive performance and will be in the mid-20s. We'll confirm his score when it comes through. But Chris, there was a huge amount to like from the horse in that test. And actually, just a word is this lady. It is Janelle Price and Gravine Darev. And it's a new ride for Janelle this year. Took on the horse internationally, actually was part of the New Zealand team in Tryon for the World Equestrian Games last year, ridden by Dan Jocelyn, but Janelle took on the ride this season. Top 10 finish in Wiesbaden, and Janelle currently sitting in second in the series with 46 points on the card. So she wants to pick up good series points here this weekend. Happy with that start, Mark?
Very. Yeah.
Yeah, a very good hold.
Engaged, light, horse squared itself up.
Stayed uphill as she halted.
I'd say it's the best hold we've seen. But
I was going to say to Chris, in terms of taking on a horse that's obviously competed at this level with somebody else, how long does it take to build the sort of partnership that you would need for this level of competition?
Yeah, it's a strange dynamic, and some riders will say it can take up to 2 years even to make them feel like they're really your horse, and maybe that's the case for all three.
Welcome back to Haras Du Jardy, leg 4 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series, and this is how the dressage leaderboard looks so far. Felix Fogg, Calero lead the way for Switzerland, ahead of Sarah Cohen and Treason currently sitting in second. Janelle Price, big series points on the line for her, currently in 5th. And a little bit further on down the leaderboard, there was some disappointment for Sidney Dufresne. Trestle Mail made a few too many mistakes for his liking in his test, but Tom Chris pleased with Liberty and Glory on 33.8. So 9 combinations to come forwards now. Let's take a look at this running order, this final session of dressage, and Felix Etzel and Bandit. They're going to give us a really good indication straight from the first draw, looking really impressive in their warm-up. The likes of Gemma Tattersall, Tebow Vallette, Emily King, Laura Collett as well, all extremely big names and all looking for a really competitive starting score. Well, welcome back to Jardy. The sun is shining. It is ideal conditions here because a little bit of cloud cover, a nice breeze as well. Blythe Tate in the studio with me alongside Mark Ruddock. And I'm delighted to say that we'll be going back to Echo Rating's Corner to find out what it takes to win here. But if you want to get your hands on one of these branded Event Rider Masters water bottles, then you can do so. You just have to spot Wilbury Wonder Pony, ERM Mastersbury, in the coverage. He'll be somewhere hidden, so keep your eye out for him and you can be in with a chance of winning. Get in touch at Event Rider Masters. Now, let's go to Durham and find out just what we're looking for in this final session. Echo Rating's Corner.
Nicole, we've been getting excited for some time now about this. We've been talking about the 6-run average. The riders you're about to see coming in here are all in around a 6-run average of 26. Don't forget what I've been telling you. We're about minus 1.5 or 2 marks on that 6-run average at the moment. You want predictions? Here they are. I think Quick Look will go right in around this 23 mark. I think we're probably going to see Brookley, King de Brio, De Capo, even maybe Falco, all in around 25. Shannondale Titan last into the arena on a 26. It is going to get hot in here. I'm expecting a lot from our panel here.
Well, the one combination I'm really looking forward to seeing is coming in next after the break. And let's just take a moment, team. Mark Ruddock, what are we looking for in this final session that's going to overhaul the top of the podium?
It's detail, like no one can make a mistake, firstly, and then just brave riding the movements right out to the end, daring those flying changes. Yeah, and relaxation as well.
Well, watch this space. Next to come forward, it is Felix Etzel and Bandit. Felix, such a talented young rider for Germany. Ranked currently 104 in the world. 26 years of age. Rides this 11-year-old by Pitel. And a horse that has really good form. Has been 11th at Le Moulin. 19th at Houghton in the 4-star as well. Part of that German Nations Cup team. And Mark, you were watching this horse in the warm-up because he is really quite special.
Well, he just looked stunning, and he has brought his warm-up into the main arena. And as Blythe would know, that doesn't always happen.
No, it doesn't always happen, but you're right, he has. Very good start.
That medium trot was just so beautiful and off the ground. Everything is so easy with this horse. So if you're going to be critical, he lost some of the lift in that half pass. So I wouldn't be on the 8s because the trot through the shoulder in had a lot of cadence, but it got a little bit flat in the half pass. But this is what the judges don't get to do very often, is actually be this critical to the detail of 8s and 9s and the 10s. And they're going to get it with all these 9 horses, that they'll be as excited as we are.
Oops. Could be squarer behind, 7.0. Could be clearer diagonals, 6.5.
And Mark, the Holton Rainback just dropping his mark slightly there.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's what the detail that we need to be looking at. That they can't make that sort of mistake to be in the lead, to get to 23s, 22s, or even lower.
Well, this combination's personal best at this level was at Verigam in 2017. They scored 24.9. If they could replicate that, then they would go into the lead here again.
I think the walk looks really relaxed. Could probably have more ground cover. The judge at the side won't like that because there's a drift to the left. His diagonal line you can see is ebbing. And that judge is sat there. And we're not on the mic, but that's fine. He will say not on a straight line. So I expect the side judge to be lower. I can hear him giving a 7.5. But very obedient into the counter transition. So I would just say some tension is creeping in a little bit. The suppleness is going.
And for me, for the really good marks, I just like to see it a little bit more forward. It is, to me, a little bit safe. And, you know, that's what's going to bring the extra scores, is the boldness.
But I'm presuming it's something he's reading from the horse, that he can't actually be too daring.
That was very nice.
That was very nice. It was easy and measured. But he presents the horse in a very good frame, and he keeps trying to encourage the horse to have the nose forwards. So like there, I'd say there's a lack of balance through that half circle. It's a very difficult movement.
Yeah, and very good transition in and out as well.
This is still a very, very good score at the moment, because he's looking on track to go into the top 3.
No, and that is what we're saying. We're saying what is the difference between getting the leading score. I just think if he could ride it a little more forwards, he would then be able to make it more supple, but I think he daren't ride it any more forward because there's a little bit of tension creeps in the mouth a little bit at times. He's very invisible with his aids.
In a bad way?
No, in a very good way.
Okay, so he's almost going, I've asked the question, the horse has delivered.
Yeah, it's touch sensitive. Like there, he just squeezes, uses his seat. And that's what we want to see. It is about being invisible. And he'll just use his position there. Okay, he wasn't that invisible coming back, but that's fine.
So, to me, it's been a very good finish. The last few movements have been very strong.
Well, he comes up the centre line. Felix Etzel, Bandit, looking very impressive in the first phase, and a lovely halt to finish as he salutes to our ground jury. And he's going to challenge for a podium position as things stand at the moment. We'll be watching his final score come in. And you can just actually see that penalty score drop even more. He can challenge the lead here. We're going to be watching this score with great interest, because when those final scores come through, he could well go out in front. It's going to be marginal. The current leader at the moment, Felix Fogg, and Calero, 25.8. Can Felix Etzel, with his total score, go ahead of Felix? And it is in the lead, 25.4. Huge delight for Felix Etzel. Bandit goes to the top of the leaderboard. You can just see the horse getting a little bit excited on the way out. And we're going to hear from Felix with Hannah.
Felix, we're just getting you some water because I expect you're very warm after that. Yeah. But you've gone into the lead, 25.4. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. He did a couple of good tests this year, and there's another one. In the warm-up, he was a bit tense and hot when the others did that dressage test, and with the applause. In the beginning, he was quite nervous, but I got him calm enough for the test, and he did his best.
And tomorrow, we've got 2 jumping phases. How do you think he's going to go?
Yeah, so I have seen after my last halt, he's really fresh and wants to go forward. So he's motivated for tomorrow. Definitely.
Best of luck, Felix.
Thank you.
Well, a new leader here, 25.4, Felix Etzel, Bandit, Blythe Tate, and Mark Ruddock in the studio with me. Mark, just a word on that test and sort of why it is our new leader. What was so special about it?
I think it was the controlled power, on the edge, just on the knife edge like that, and as Blythe said, the last 4 movements where he just went, I'm going for this, and they rewarded him with 9s,
and that made the difference.
Yeah, but he would still look at that and go, I've got 2% more from the right back. He's still got improvement if he's going to Europeans and things.
Well, watch this space, because we have a couple of combinations coming forward a little bit later on who could well produce a faultless test in this first phase. And now we welcome, for France, Maxime Livio, Opium de Verrières. This one of the most experienced combinations in the field, actually. Were part of the French team who won team bronze at the World Equestrian Games last year, secured the country's Olympic qualification, finished individual 11th there. And Opium de Variat, hugely experienced, well placed at this level last year. Was 4th in Stragon, 4th in Babaroko, and went very well at Haras Du Jardy as well. Now, Maxime's best ever Event Rider Masters placing was actually 6th at Bramham back in 2016. Can he improve upon that here? He's certainly ranked within the top 5 in the EquiRatings Eventing Prediction Centre to do so. Blythe, first impressions?
I very much like the entry. I just think he would have wanted to have done a little bit more on the extension, but there was a moment of loss of balance, and so he just throttled off a little bit, but good so far.
But I'd say that's experience that he knew to back off the gas and not brake and get the canter. But he's still got an 8 and 2.75, so he'll be... And now he'll hopefully go for gold.
Well, this horse's personal best at this level was actually in Le Pouget. And actually, we just see there, Mark, the same mistake in the second of those trots.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair to him, he thought he was nearly there and actually still kept going. But that's the risk he's got to take.
Lovely hold. I think what the problem with this horse is he's just actually getting a little ahead of the rider instead of behind the rider. So it's a little hard to ask for more.
A little against inside leg at start, 6.5.
Yeah. As I said, he fell in a little bit at the beginning.
We see there from the shoulder in, 7s and 6.5s. We've had a question come in, Mark. Somebody would like to know how you can get the next level. So Jodie wants to know how you can produce the 8s, the 7.5s, the 8s.
It's really about being able to keep the line it's being able to get it from the marker, not drift into it. No one's really clear at H. They're sort of vague, and then they start the shoulder in and it's not defined. And actually keeping the angle consistent is very difficult, especially when the horse is anticipating the half pass. And the quality and the engagement and lightness. It seems easier than it should be, but actually shouldering is actually quite difficult.
Quite difficult.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got any questions for Mark or for Blythe, then make sure you send them in. Tag @Event Rider Masters on social media and use the hashtag ERM Eventing.
So it's just a shame that lack of relaxation in that walk.
Yeah.
And it just really throws the score down. I'd say the horse is getting a bit tight in the back. Slightly how he's just starting to sit a little bit. He's just coming a bit light in his seat. It's the tallest person I've ever seen on a horse. How tall is he?
Oh, I don't know.
It looks about
You're putting him up against sort of Mark Todd and William Fox Pitt there, Mark. He's a very tall chap.
Yeah.
Nice
It's
change.
a nice, easy change. But I just want more engagement.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's very pleased the walk's out of the way, and I think that this horse will start to pick up the marks again in the canter.
Yeah. I mean, that's lovely in the ground cover. Very smooth transitions. Just more bend, really. Oh, somebody dropped their ice cream. He won't be laughing at that.
He's currently bang on. This horse has 8 runs at this level and trends at 29.7 as an average from those. So
I think he'll drop back into that because I think the change will be good. Yeah, very smooth.
when a flying change is done well, it looks so easy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Effortless.
And that's what it should look. You know.
It was Sarah's and his and that we've been seeing. Actually, it's in the same canter stride, and it just is like a skip. And when you see it so easy, you're like, why does it make such difficultness about them?
I like this horse's extended canter. It's really uphill and a good ground cover. And yet comes back
very
nice and softly.
Well, Maxime Livio, Opium de Variat come to the final halt. And a lovely square halt to conclude their test here.
7.0.
Les Smith Just making his final marks from his position at B. And an 8.7 for that final halt. So definitely dropping back into the late 20s, and this could see Opium de Verrières going well in touch with the leaders, and he could well be within a fence of our leader at the moment, Felix Etzel and Bandit on 25.4. So Maxime Livio will go inside the top 10. We've currently some 9 combinations already sub 30, and 28.3 goes into 5th, and just behind Jireg Lecour's Esprit de la Loge. So Maxime Livio goes 5th on the leaderboard, and we'll go down to Hannah and hear his thoughts.
Maxime, you've gone into 5th, 28.3, I believe. Are you pleased with that?
Yeah, why not? It's okay. The horse was very fresh. Normally he's so quiet. I did quite a short warm-up, but I'm a little bit disappointed because we have some mistake regarding that energy he wants to give. But however, I'm very happy because he's 17 and he's still very happy to be on to be here to compete and to be on every competition. So next time I know that even if he is experienced and old, I need a long warm-up to make sure that he is with me. But he can do better, but I'm very happy that he is fresh because it's a good news for the rest of the season.
Okay, best of luck tomorrow, Maxime.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, Maxime Livio goes into 5th, 28.3. So we head towards the final 6 riders here in the Event Rider Masters, leg 4 of the 2019 series here in Haras Du Jardy. This incredible stud, the location for this leg, and 2 more legs, of course, to come. Mill Street in Ireland in August, and then the series finale in Lignières at the beginning of October. The series competition, we've no doubt this weekend, is going to have some real impact because Chris Burton withdrew before the start of competition. The horse that he'd brought over for the competition, Lawtown Chloe, got a little bit of travel sickness, so she's withdrawn, which throws the door open for a number of others on the leaderboard to overtake him in the series race. Izzy Taylor, one of those who could actually put in some more series points to the bank this weekend, comes forward with Spring Power, the horse on whom she was top 10 at Chatsworth in leg 1 of the series so far this year. This is a horse that has really excelled in the Blenheim 8 and 9-year-old classes over the last couple of years, actually finished as runner-up there 12 months ago, and one that I know Izzy hugely excited about for the future. Mark Ruddock and Blythe Tate in the studio with me. And we should just say, Mark, that our camera position on that centre line is slightly off to the left. So Izzy is going straight down the centre line.
It does look like, why did they give them those marks on the centre line? But they really are on the centre line.
I do think that unfortunately she lost the shoulders to the right a little bit, and he had a step of 2 of canter out of the hold, so the marks reflect that.
She's picked them back up with that a medium trot, I would hope. Oh, I thought she might have gone more than that. This horse has a lovely natural uphill frame. And I think the energy is very nice. Too much neck bend.
Well, see, I quite like that shoulder, and I thought it was very nice. Well, just 7s.
Just a fraction too much neck bend.
7.0.
I may have gone 7.5, but... How old's this horse, Nicole?
He is 10 by Power Blade.
Needs more air time. 7.0. 7.0.
That's quite interesting. Les says airtime. When I was talking about cadence earlier, that's the same thing. He ran a little bit flat onto the ground in the extended. So Les is trying to say why he's not going to the 8s. But that would come from more strength and more engagement. Like here, he has cadence in the shouldering. I think this shouldering is better than the other rein. And he has airtime in his normal collected trot. And it's very focused.
She's a real competitor, isn't she, Blythe?
Absolutely. She produces a good test on everything she rides. She's very good at arena craft, and so far she's not throwing away any marks.
On numerous horses, like numerous.
Yes, yeah.
Thought that walk was really nice and easy. And this is quite a difficult movement for most horses to pick up the canter and then come down the centre and get into the half pass when actually they can be quite tense. But I think that was nicely forwards.
Part of the test, though, Mark, is any horse, in theory, can do certain movements on their own, and then you put them all together, and cumulatively, it just becomes so much more difficult.
And yeah, and I think that's the thing, is the test at this level, there's not a moment where they can't... Oops. There's not a moment where they're just going for a little go around the long side. It's like, oh, bang, 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 and that's what actually stresses. It's a bit like yourself when you've got a load of stuff, it actually gets on top of you. They're really lovely in the ground cover, really bravely ridden, really supple, easily back, all on her seat. No reins needed. Oh, that's the look anyway. That's the impression anyway.
Yeah, and that's, I always say if it looks easy, you're doing it well.
Yeah. And it's when we talked about self-carriage earlier that this horse has a good self-carriage. It looks like if the reins did snap, his head would still stay in that same position. It's a lovely type of horse, isn't it? Really round.
Yeah.
Not too long. Lovely. Just hit the timing right. We don't have to say much, Blythe, really, because they're just doing it. It's all really quite nice and pleasant.
An 8 for that flying change. I think that's one of the first 8s we've seen for a change.
And I think it thoroughly deserved it.
And I'd want to give this a 9, this extended canter, to the medium canter. But obviously we can't see the straightness from where we are, but... Oh, it did change behind as it came back.
Well, costly for Izzy Taylor, but Spring Power puts in a very good, solid performance in the first phase. Her team watching on as Izzy, who was on the podium here 12 months ago, that was with Be Touchable, actually scored 25.1 in the dressage with Be Touchable here last year. But Spring Power, top 10 at Chatsworth this spring, and she should be sub 30. So we're adding another one to the list, and it is proving to really make that leaderboard extremely tight at the top, because every penalty will count in tomorrow's jumping phases. Izzy Taylor and Spring Power just coming out of their test, and let's go to Hannah and hear from the lady herself.
Well, that was a really good, solid test there from Izzy Taylor. Spring Power, she's been out on a few times this season. Izzy, how was that?
Yeah, it was a little bit above his stations, but he settled by the end. If he'd have started the beginning at the end, we'd have been grand. So it was fine.
It did get better and better and better, and those flying changes were wonderful.
Yeah, he does very good changes. He did a fantastic test at Badminton, and then was a little bit overwhelmed by all of that because that was on the Friday afternoon with big atmosphere and all exciting. And we've just been a bit quiet with him and nearly got it right today. So we're nearly back where we should be.
Well, you're there or thereabouts. I'm looking at the board. I think it's a 28.3, putting you into 5th place. So you're definitely in contention.
Yeah, close enough. And as you know, hopefully the jumping here is always big and technical, and then the cross country is normally very quick. So
you had a disappointing 3 poles, I think it was, at Chatsworth. Have you been working on your jumping?
Yeah, very much so. And Chatsworth was in the deep going. We've got beautiful sand here, so hopefully he'll have learnt his lesson and we'll be back and jumping good rounds.
Thanks, Izzy.
Thank you.
Well, here comes the lady that is the hot favourite to lead after this phase and to take the top of the podium here this weekend. It is Gemma Tattersall and Quick Look, the 5th. And Echo Rating saying they should be around the 23 mark with their dressage. We'll be watching that trending score very closely. But Mark, this is a horse that is notorious for being exceptional in the first phase.
I mean, her breeding is very dressage with her Tebow DiMaggio, isn't she?
By Urco.
Oh, Urco. Oh, it's the other one that's Tebow DiMaggio, Urkel. But it's very like warm blood, and it just has that lovely cadence. And just super suppleness. And it's the way she never misses a beat in her rhythm. And Gemma can ride a test. But she shows a good transition.
Well, you also talked about them going from marker to marker, and that's what Gemma just did.
Yeah.
Great hold.
I mean, being critical, like she just came behind the Vertical into the halt. But it was very clear and and the move off was very nice. One of the best half passes we've seen in the crossing. And the suppleness. I hope the judge at sea will really like that. I think it's just these top horses and riders, how they get into this zone, isn't it?
For me, this is the best walk we've seen so far today.
Like the relaxation where the horses want to stretch down, take the rein forward. Gemma looks like she could probably send a text while she's walking across there. Lovely transition. And the frame was so good. And she positions, like gets a shoulder to lead. Very good example of a half pass, correctly positioned. Nice bend, nice rhythm, nice and easy. And like here she's able to like really prescribe the serpentine.
Yeah, the balance is so secure that she can show off a bit and go a bit.
And then she can like engage her as she leaves the corner here, leaves the wall. Oh. So that wasn't quite as she would have expected.
Well, you could say that it wasn't quite on the A.
Yes. But it wasn't a disaster.
I know.
It wasn't quite on the 8. Yeah.
Although they didn't.
Was a bit harsh, but to be fair, we did go ooh
7.5.
Well.
Good positioning, 8.0.
The overall impression is of ease, isn't it? And the mare's really with Gemma and just responding so easily.
Yeah, she's able to show, Gemma's able to let the mare show herself to the best. And the mare's able to show Gemma to her best. It's called a partnership. It's better.
Much better.
Mommy Tattersall and Elodie Frost, both huge parts of Gemma's career, watching on. And plenty of 8s in here. This is a really, really good test from the hot favourites coming into the competition. She's going to be very close to challenging our leader. The question is, can she do it? Gemma's been 4th here for the last 2 years. That was with Chica Bella P. But Quick Look, the 5th, has been a superstar for her over the years. This final halt will be crucial. Gemma Tattersall, Quick Look. Salute to the ground jury. And that could be enough to put them out in front here. It has been a huge test from this young lady. And Quick Look, a horse she absolutely adores. Mark, just the one real mistake in one of the changes.
One mistake. So a couple of 4s, which is going to be, could be the reason why she won't lead.
Well, I'm just waiting for that score to come in because I think she will go into the top spots. And 25.1, she goes out in front. She is the one to beat, but has she left that door open for anybody else? That is the question. We've some top-class combinations still to come forward, 5 to line up before the end of the first phase. But Gemma Tattersall is our new leader. Let's go and hear her thoughts with Hannah.
Well, she's just getting out of the way of Tebow Vallette, who's just going into the arena now. 25.1, you've gone into first. Gemma, we had our heart in our mouth because Pebbles was a little bit excited in the warm-up arena.
Yeah, she came into the pre-warm-up and she was pulling my arms out. I was like, excuse me, let's not do that. And yeah, she thought that she'd be a little bit sassy and feisty. But managed to have a few little conversations between us. We understand each other very well, and managed to get her back in the box, and then sort of released her in the ring. And she's such a show off that, you know, and she knows her job so well. So yeah.
One little mistake in one of the changes, but apart from that, it was seamless. Do you think you've done enough to sort of give yourself a buffer to prove evacuating's right and get that 12% win?
I don't know, we'll see. You know, she did a fantastic performance. That flying change was totally my fault. I'm completely to blame. I didn't set her up properly. You know, I would have probably hoped to be slightly further in the lead, but hey, we're still in the lead. She's a fantastic horse and it's great to be here.
Well, we love having you here, Gemma. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Well, here is Tebow Vallette. King de Brio very quick after the bell went to start his test. Obviously felt the horse was going absolutely beautifully, and this is a horse that could really challenge in this first phase as well. You can see that from his early mark. So Tebow Vallette for the home side were on the first ever Event Rider Masters podium. Can they hold on to that very, very impressive start here? Mark?
Yeah, well, I was watching him off screen, and actually, yeah, he just came in and just went for it, got the most amazing halt, and just, yeah, and he's like made them sit up, like here, just riding out the transition. The horse is so light on his feet, isn't he?
Well, you certainly couldn't complain about lack of air time in that extended trial.
No.
7.5.
A 10 for the halt from our judge, Eric Levy at C. That's the first 10 we've seen so far today.
7.5.
The horse has all this natural, lovely cadence, this desire to go forward. It could be a little more supple on the left rein. I'm allowed to be like nitpicky, and this is what they are.
No, I agree with you. There was a good angle in the shoulder, and but perhaps lacks a little bend. But the impulsion and the forwardness of this horse is really impressive.
Yeah. Have you seen him before, Blythe?
I have done, yes, and he is capable of a very good test.
He's a horse that actually is one of the most experienced in the field, has been to 4 major championships, has never been lower than 13th individually, including an individual bronze at Blair Castle Europeans, and 6th individually at the World Equestrian Games last year.
Well, that's impressive. And again, a good walk.
And a lovely smooth transition.
Maybe just lost a little bit of the roundness.
Yeah, they won't see us from behind.
No, they won't.
As long as it's on the bit as it's turned, it's fine. So just say, just laterally in the half passes, just could do with a little more bend. But the horse keeps such good quality of pace.
Well, trending 23.7, but the average of the combinations coming forward in this last session of dressage is 26.8. That is how exceptional it is. And
I think he could have been braver and asked for more expression in that change. It was a nice, easy change.
I would have liked to have seen it one stride earlier as well.
I almost felt like he had asked for it one stride earlier.
No, he just
Didn't
felt he
happen.
was a bit casual of myself.
Look at us criticising.
Well, we're
I mean, you
criticising
can't
why
help
not
but
9s.
like this, though, can you? Yeah,
Because the
outline is great.
outline is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the contact is beautiful. And it just makes you give it, like, you judging it, you're like, why is it not a 9? And you're like, oh, because I want a little bit more bend and I want a little bit more this.
Be interesting to see how he approaches the second of these changes, Mark.
I think it'll be less casual. Needs to do something with the canter.
7.5. $7.5.
It was on the centre line. And it was clean.
It was clean.
Yeah.
But it didn't have enough expression.
We're being very picky, though. It's still.
They are being really
fantastic
horrible.
test.
Like he's
Look
going
at
to
his
hate
score.
us.
He's taking the lead at this stage.
Well,
I
Tebow
mean, I
Vallette.
love the way the horse goes.
Tebow Vallette, King de Brio are well on track to take the lead. So the lead is going to have changed 3 times in this session, and we're only halfway through, but it is going to be France that go to the top of the leaderboard. King de Brio and Tebow Vallette will get a huge round of applause from the home crowd. Trending 24.1, but they will go ahead of Gemma Tattersall, will push her down into second, and that was an enormous performance from this hugely experienced combination. Mark, there was so much to love about that test.
There wasn't a fault. There was not a fault.
Oh, and the good thing about that test was that he was strong in all three paces.
All 3 paces and no mistakes. First clear round.
Well, 23.2, so that goes ahead of Gemma Tattersall, goes into the lead, and it is a new record here in Jardy as well. So that's the last couple of years. Not quite beating Bettina Hoy Senior Medicot from 2017, but Tebow Vallette, King de Brio, 23.2. Very good score from them. And we'll hear from him with Hannah.
Tebow, I could watch King de Brio all day. Such a beautiful horse. You've got a 23.2. You're in first position. Faultless.
Yeah, thanks. He's a really very good horses for this test. He has really good paces, and he's very very quiet to ride on it. It's very good, yeah.
And beautiful for you to be here in France, in front of your home crowd. Such a big applause for you.
Yeah, it's very nice to be here. I was here 2 years ago, and I hope it's the last round here today before the European Championship. We will see this summer. Yeah.
Well, we've got high hopes for you tomorrow, so good luck, Tebow.
Thanks.
Well, this is the start of Tebow Vallette's test. Mark, just talk us through this, because he really impressed the judges from the first movement.
But it was the way the bell went, and he was in there like a salmon.
Like a salmon?
Like a salmon.
I've not heard that one in dressage before, but yep.
And you see how he landed, square, and moved off, no hesitation. I'm here.
He is the new leader. He certainly announced his arrival, 23.2 into the top 5 best dressage tests in history here in Jardy, as this combination could be won again to keep a challenge on that top spot. It is Emily King with Brookley, owned by Jane Dalmisia. This horse has been a superstar for Emily in her career. Actually gave her best ever 5-star placing at Pau back in 2015. The horse then had an injury at Badminton 2016, has had a lot of time off since then. But you can just see, Mark, why this was a horse we spoke about coming into this phase.
No, we were so excited when we saw he was on the entry list, because she can really ride this horse. He allows her to ride. He has brilliant paces. They have a really good partnership. And it's the forwardness of this horse, and actually he remains supple. And I dare say he has more suppleness.
Great
than the
angle.
previous horse. The angle was very good. And he's always so happy, this horse. And that for me is a very good extended trot, because it's in the same rhythm.
Frame could be slightly longer. 7.0. 7.0. 7.0. 7.0.
I might have gone a little higher with the right back myself.
I'd have gone higher on all those
Future
movements.
judge to be made out of you
But I
both
like the way
days.
that he came back very soft and very easy,
Yeah.
very regular steps, and then straight back into the trot. The very first step was trot.
Yeah. I was like 7.5 for everything. They've done it, even an 8. But we're still trending quite high.
I know, it's still...
This horse, I remember, has an amazing walk. I just remembered. It's funny, you suddenly like... So like slinky as he walks.
Yeah, but it looks like he's going somewhere,
Yeah.
doesn't it? With purpose.
Lovely transition. He bends better than most. It's probably where the mark is not quite the same as the previous horse. Would be the slight, it's not as much self-carriage. That would be why he's not in the 25.
Oops, he's just changed there. Just a shame.
Shame. 'Cause then it was a lovely flying change.
Actually, she got away with that in terms of the marks a little bit, Mark.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the change was still very good. I just didn't see the score for the Serpentine because the change happened in the Serpentine.
It can't have been massive because she's still trending high.
This is still a very, very good test so far. And actually, he scored a personal best in the dressage last time out, 23.6 at Bramham. And that was behind Gemma Tattersall, Quick Look, who we've already seen, and Laura Collett de Capo, who are next into the arena. That is the quality and the class of this field.
She just keeps a beautiful frame and balance with him. And then is able to place the change. She prepared that beautifully.
Yeah. And again, the stride was up off the floor and longer without getting any faster.
Yeah. Just had clear definition within in all that extended and medium.
Emily King, Brookley are well in touch after the first phase. A lovely halt to complete their test. And we'll wait for those final scores to come in. They're not going to challenge the lead of Tebow Vallette and King de Brio, but they will very much be in chance with a podium placing as things stand at the moment. It will all depend on those last couple of scores. It is so tight on that leaderboard at the moment, and we'll confirm it for you just in a second. But Emily King and Brookley impressing the judges here in Jardy. Well, crowds really have been enjoying the balcony of the Orangery and enjoying all of the action as it happens. And if you want to get involved in the Event Rider Masters, the behind the scenes access, exclusive content as well, and a visit to this young lady's yard in just a few weeks' time, 23rd of July, Laura Collett has a yard visit exclusively for Event Rider Masters Platinum Club members. Go to eventridermasters.tv for more information. Emily King into 5th, 25.9.
To 5th. That is fantastic. It's lovely to have Brookley back after quite a long break since 2016. Are you pleased with that?
Yeah, I'm really pleased. You know, he's an absolute sweetheart. He's my all-time favourite horse. So it's amazing to have him back, yet alone be able to have him experiencing these fantastic shows, because I feel it's a real class that he could excel in. So no, it's great to have him back.
There's a lot of people expecting you to be on the podium this weekend. That's a very, very good start. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with him. He's very laid back, and also so warm here it actually, he finds it quite hard. So I literally only warmed him up for a tiny bit and just did like lots of little short bits. But, the jumping, it's always testing here at Jardy. They always build a big track, and the cross country as well is lots of angles, very testing. So we'll for sure give it our best shot. But I just want him to be happy and come home all safe and sound.
Well, you're in 5th, only 2 more riders to go, so you're guaranteed a top 7 overnight.
Thank you. Yeah, really pleased with him. Thank you.
Well, here is the lady who topped the podium at Chatsworth a little bit earlier on this year. That was with London 52. Da Capo, the horse she brings forward here, and a very good starting score for them from the first few movements.
I always like, Laura's horses, I think, all go beautifully.
She's very good at producing a test, isn't she?
She is, and all her horses, you could actually sort of watch them and go, that's a Laura, that's a Laura.
Exactly. I mean, she rides quite a big horse, but they're always nicely put together in there, and so they look like they've got a good uphill balance and lots of energy.
Yeah, and I'd say it's because they're well trained from day one that she's able to ride a big horse.
Well, she does produce most of these horses herself, doesn't she? From the beginning.
Yeah. So they never get to know about the small person on top.
Oh. Just a little bit hesitant in the last step.
You like that shoulder in?
Do I? I think maybe a little bit less angle, a little bit more bend for me.
I agree. It's just the thing I thought we had issues, you and I, with shoulder ins.
Oh, really? Good transition to walk as well, and it looks like he's going to give us a good walk. I like that.
Yeah. And he wants to take his frame forward, and he has good over track there. It was a really easy, it was very similar to Gemma's walk. It was very, very easy and looked secure and reliable. I don't know what they're not liking, why we got a 6. Somebody pressed the wrong button.
Maybe just slightly started with his quarters first, then finished well.
7.5.
A little bit of Brian Adams, Summer of 69, to accompany her dressage. I have to say that's one of my favourites. So if you want to enjoy the rider's music as well, you can do so if you tune in eventridermasters.tv.
7.5 and 7.5.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a very secure change, but it could have had a little more expression for anything more than a 7.5. Probably not as much ground cover as we've seen with previous few horses in the extended.
I'm not sure what age this horse is as well, but he hasn't been competing at this level for all that long, has he? And I'm...
How old is he, Nicole?
He is, I want to say 10, but I will just double check it for you. He is 10 by Diorado. And he's really come into his own this year. I know Laura's thought that he's come out this season so much stronger than he was last year. Oh. That.
I blinked.
I blinked too.
He snuck that in a little bit before she was ready, I think.
She blinked and missed it. Right, so we'll say not on the aid, and she didn't own it.
But it was a correct change. Just a little bit early.
Yes.
Well, Laura Collett's still looking for big series points here because she picked up those 30 points, was the series leader going into Arville just a week or so, a couple of weeks ago, and can really climb that series leaderboard again here. Da Capo completes his test and will be sub 30, so we'll confirm her score. Should go inside the top 10. But it is really getting very, very tight at the top. And it'll be interesting to see where that comes, because every single 0.1 of a penalty now is making a massive, massive difference. So Laura Collett, Da Capo, And we'll confirm what Laura's score is when it does come through. All of those scores available online as well. Go to eventridermasters.tv if you'd like to see the full leaderboard. But Laura Collett, 27.6, goes into 7th, and I think she'll be pretty happy with that, Hannah.
Well, let's find out, Nicole. 27.6. Laura, the question is, are you happy with that?
Yeah, I was really pleased with him. He was a bit quiet and a bit dull in Arville, and he felt much more with me there. Yeah, really happy with him.
I'm sure he'd be delighted to know you thought he was dull in Arville. And looking ahead to tomorrow, have you walked the course or anything?
Yeah, had a walk round. There's plenty of places that you need to be on the ball. There's nothing dimensionally big out there, but sometimes that can just switch them off a little bit. So, yeah, I think the waters are tricky, and the combination right at the end. When myself and Gemma Tattersall walked the course, we both walked through the gateway and went, oh my God, there's a fourth part, and I feel like the horses might just do the same. So, yeah, you've got to be on it the whole way round, and it's twisty, and there's a lot to jump, and the time will be tight.
Okay, well, best of luck, Laura.
Thank you.
Well, Laura Collett goes inside the top 10, wants series points here. And we have just 2 more combinations to come forward. So we're heading towards the end of the dressage phase here. Leg 4 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series at Haras Du Jardy. And Laura Collett just finishing her test there, you see, just going into the top 10. The leader at the moment is King de Brio, Tebow Vallette, on a score of 23.2. Gemma Tattersall, quick look, 25.1 second. Felix Etzel and Bandit, 25.4. So we will be looking for this man to come forward in just a second. Wife Janelle, good catching skills, caught a towel Tim lobbed in her direction as he makes his final preparations to come into the main arena. Now, Mark, we're going to get you to judge along with the Spectator Judging app. And if you guys at home want to do so, you're not too late to download it for free in your app store. And basically, you are going to judge every movement as if you were the judge. Everybody at home can do this too. So we will leave it in your hands as they come up the centre line. But you can download it if you want to play along. Just search for Spectator Judging app in your app store. Now, this is a horse that I'm really looking forward to seeing, because it is a horse called Falco, owned by Sue Benson. Sue, who actually has been a very, very accomplished rider herself, then turned her hand to course designing, was course designer for the 2012 Olympic Games in London. And this is a horse that I'm sure she would absolutely have loved to have ridden during her career. But Tim gets the privilege. He is the FEI World #1. He is the Arville champion as well. And he will be looking to get off to a really strong start in this first phase. 10-year-old gelding by Cardinio. Can be quirky, but exceptionally talented. Tim Price is no stranger to a little bit of pressure, and this is a horse who is really stepping up to the level here in Jardy. But let's see what he can deliver. Tim Price, Falco. Mark, you're going to judge along, so I'm going to let you tell me the score and comment, and I will plug it into the phone for you.
Thank you, Neil. But nice and straight and good engagement. Halt a little slow to secure. Straight move off, 7.5. Lovely forward steps and good cadence. Could go more to the end. 7.5. So look, the positioning looks good, the air time looks good, and the lightness, nice. I'm going to go 8 for the shoulder in. And losing some bend towards the end in the half pass, so 7 for the half pass right. And then I want a little bit more for extended trot because it looks very similar to the medium. So 7. And then the transitions, 7.5. If it'd be a bit more immobile, 7.5. And then against the hand, 6.5. I could have gone 10 for that hole if he hadn't moved his front leg. Then good positioning. Just a little more self-carriage, 7.5 for the shoulder end. A little more bend, 7.5 in the half pass. The transition to the walk was really nice. I'm not sure where the walk marks come actually.
Medium walk, CH, change the road and extended walk, then the medium walk.
So CH its own mark? No, is it with the extended
no, it's
walk?
with the extended walk.
Yep.
But then the transition to the walk from is marked separately.
So I'm going to go 8.5 because actually it's just getting some tension towards the end. 8.5 for that walk, and then this little bit of walk
here. The transition here is the next mark.
So 7.5.
And then the transition to canter.
Just a little, some tension, 7.5. And just could be it's a little bit tight in the neck. So 7 for the half pass. His music's very loud. So we like the canter quality, but I want more suppleness. I would say there's some tension going on in the serpentine. 7.5. Good change. Could be straighter over the middle. 7.5. A very good ground cover. Could do with the frame to be a little bit more open. 7.5. And then we've got transitions, have we? No, just a half pass. Just
half pass.
So the bend is better this way. So I now would say to Nicole, what did I give the other one? And give it half a mark more, but we won't because she's not got a piece of paper.
You gave us 7, I think.
There we go, 7.5 then.
Yeah, you did give us 7.5. See, I make an excellent dressage writer.
The writers make a big part, I can tell you. So I just want a little bit less tension in the body. So, and that showed in the change. So 7 for the serpentine, 6.5 for the change. You'll see he's just getting a bit drawn back in his neck. But very good stats. Just nose more forwards. So 7.5 for the medium and extended. And then just a little bit onto the shoulder. And it's slightly irritating how he does that with his front leg in every hold. 7 for the hold.
And for the overall impression,
you can have an 8.
Horse, an 8. Okay, well, let's confirm what you would have given, Mark. You would have had him at... Double check. Press the wrong button. You're going to fire me now, Mark. You're going to fire me. I know.
It's gone into the ether.
Here we go. You would have had him at 28. And actually, that is spot on with what the audience at home would have judged him along with. So 28.0 for Mark and you guys at home. 27.4 is the official score, and that actually puts him into 7th, but well in touch with the top of the leaderboard and well in touch with the podium as well. He is very, very close, and every single penalty here is going to count. So every 0.4, either show jumping time penalty, cross country time penalty, is going to make a massive difference, and we're going to see a lot of movement on that leaderboard, I'm sure, tomorrow. So Tim Price and Falco go into 7th, and I think Tim will be pretty happy with that inexperienced horse at the level, and we'll hear his thoughts.
Tim, 27.4. You've gone into 7th. It's an ERM debut for Falco. How do you think it went?
Very well for him. You know, it's a bit of an unknown territory as it is with horses that are just coming to this level, and the atmosphere. There was little things, the boards he's never seen down at his feet. He's a very careful horse. He wants to know where his feet are at all times. So things like that were just a little distraction. But he's so genuine, tries so hard. I'm so happy for him and for Sue Benson, who owns him, who's not here unfortunately, but she'll be really happy as well, because he just gives everything. That's who he is, and that's what we enjoy so much about him.
You're coming here from a magnificent win at Arville with your beloved Wesco. What are your hopes and expectations for the next 24 hours, Tim?
I'm trying to ride that wave regardless of the horse, and you know, there's such a different plan for every horse, and this guy, we've had a wee walk around the cross country. It's definitely challenging, definitely the most he would have seen in 7 minutes, you know, so you just got to make a plan and give it a good go, and I think he's totally up for it. So.
And a quick note on Janelle. She's obviously doing very well in the overall series points. Chris Burton is withdrawn this weekend. You know, how's she feeling?
She doesn't let much away, even to me. She's so cool under pressure and everything. So, but the horse is improving, and the one thing about him is he's blood. He likes to do the job of galloping and jumping, and the dressage is probably the bit that's coming along the slowest. So it's all ahead of him, and she's got a pilot like Janelle. So I think they'll be pretty interesting to watch.
Thanks, Tim.
Cheers. Thank you.
Well, next to come forward, in fact, the last to come forward, it is Bill Levitt with the Prentice family's Shannondale Titan combination, again looking for series points, because Bill equal third with Sarah Cohen in the series challenge as well. Now, this is a horse that we've seen at every leg in the Event Rider Masters series so far this year.
And he's just so consistent, this horse. He has such a good hind leg, doesn't he?
Well, if you just look at the hind leg, you can see all the activity and the extension and things like that. That's where you really should be looking, shouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. And you're drawn to it, and this horse is an example of a horse that actually uses his hind leg. So here we go now. How it steps under, and he pushes off, and it steps under the body, comes under him, almost like over does it sometimes. I can imagine it gets overreaches.
Well, there's been sub 30 on every single one of his 5 runs so far this year. Nice halt.
Very good halt.
I'd be hoping, we had a 10 earlier for a halt, didn't we?
We did.
I'd have thought we must be getting close to that, wouldn't you?
Well, I'd have thought so.
We've missed out the halt. We skipped the halt.
The halt mark. But actually, his score has dropped.
Yes,
so I imagine there could well have been one in there.
5. Needs more suppleness. 7.0.
I sort of agree with needs more suppleness, but I think 7's quite harsh.
And actually, he got 9.88 for his
okay.
halt.
Right. Looks a little bit drunk.
Drunk? I'm hoping you're talking about the horse, not Bill.
Bill,
Emma.
not yet.
He is just wandering a little bit.
Just wandering, just casual.
Good to the connection.
Relaxed.
9.0.
Well, Les did not agree with you there, Mark.
It was a nice walk.
7.5, 7.5.
Well, this is a very good score trending at the moment for Bill Levitt Shannondale Titan. Now, Echo said he would going to be about 26 at the end of dressage.
Well, he's right on that at the moment.
Scored 26.0 actually in Wiesbaden a little bit earlier on this year, went en route to finishing 6th.
He's going to bang out a 9 now. Or an 8. But again, the horse is so in its stride and so easy. The canter and the change. I mean, this horse should have a lovely change because that canter is so rolling. Lovely transition.
I thought that was good, very good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oops.
A little bit of resistance in the turn, but back on track.
But we're talking about little glitches, aren't we?
We are.
And this horse so consistent. He really, really is.
Well, him and Treason are like out of the same pod, aren't they? There's Bay and Mr. Reliable and Gifted.
Lovely, lovely people as well.
Lovely people.
Oh, just needs
Do
to
that.
get back for this change, and he got away with it.
Good change.
Well, Ryan watching on in the background. Josh just on the very right of your picture there, Bill's son, out here actually in Jardy doing his first international here this weekend.
I thought that was lovely.
Is a very competitive score, and we're just watching here because any single little 0.1 of a penalty is going to make all the difference. So Bill Levitt, Shannondale Titan looking for their second podium finish in the series. Team Levitt been watching on, and Bill should go inside the top 5 with that very good performance in the first phase. Leaves him well in touch with our leaders going forward to the show jumping tomorrow morning, the cross country over Pierre Michelet's track tomorrow afternoon. But Bill Levitt, impressive in his first phase performance. We love Bill and Shannondale Titan in the Event Rider Master Series. They go onto the podium in third, 25.3, and I'm sure Bill will be absolutely delighted with that.
25.3, Bill, and into third. Superb.
Yeah, he was good. You know, he's sort of... Hey, mate.
We're just bringing Josh in. We need to talk to Josh in a minute because he's taking over that superstar spot, Bill.
No, it's... he's very solid now, so it's nice to go in there. I got the setup all right, I know him so well, so doesn't need much more than 10 minutes just before we go in. And he's such a genuine horse that he just really puts it out there for you. And he had a bit of a trip going around the outside. I thought he might have pulled a shoe or something, but it was good, It's nice to be in the mix there, and that's right up there with the leaders, so it's great.
Now, Bill, I've been away for a couple of events, and I note that there have been a few flag issues while I've been away. Can we talk about that?
Well, all I'll say is last time in Arville I went and found a tree and sat down for about half an hour. I was so depressed because it cost me 4th place. I just, it was one of those moments where, keep away from me. I'm so angry and annoyed, and So now my wife's out here, Jenny, this weekend, and I'm assuming that's got nothing to do with me running over flags. But him being here.
She told me she'd just done her HGV licence, and I did wonder whether that was to tell you what the directions were. But look, well done. That was a great test. Josh, I want to talk to you because you are the next Levitt superstar. You're here. You're 14 years old doing your first international. Tell us about the lovely horse that you've got here.
So his name is Tommy, and Dad rode him at 3-star, and then he was given to Mum, and then she gave him to me, and I'm just trying to get as much experience as I can on him, and he's a really nice horse to ride.
And you've been riding since you were 1 year old?
Yeah, Dad and Mum are always keen to put me on a horse, and I love it so much, so it's really good.
Now, Bill, Josh just told me that he is absolutely determined to be an eventer like you. What do you think? I mean, most famous actors say, don't do it, don't go into it. What do you make of that?
Well, at the moment, it's just like families spending time together, so it's fine. And both Jenny and my advice is, if you're passionate about it and you love it, do it. If you don't, keep it as a hobby. So over the next 3 or 4 years, he'll find out for himself whether he really wants to do it full time or he just wants to play around with horses, as a hobby. So, but if he wants to do it full time, we're all there. We've got the knowledge and the setup, so that's great. But if he doesn't, then that's fine as well.
And Josh, you're not just going in at 1-star level. You're coming in and smashing this out of the park at 2-star level.
Yeah, I just wanted to challenge myself a bit, and 2-star's a great way to do that.
I wonder where he gets the ambition from, Bill. Who knows? Best of luck tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you soon.
Oh, well, we would dearly love to have both Lebbits in Event Rider Masters leg. Will it ever happen? Watch this space. But Bill absolutely delighted with that test. Into third for a seasonal personal best for Shenandoah Titan. And Tebow Vallette, the one to beat. King de Brio out in front, 23.2. A little bit further on, Felix Fogg, the leader for a long time for Switzerland with Calero, stays ahead of Emily King, Brookley. Sarah Cohen, Treason also in the series hunt as well. Keep an eye out for them in the jumping phases. Tim Price, Laura Collett, both one win apiece so far this year, will be looking to add to their series tally. A little bit further on down the leaderboard in 14th place, but close enough to our leader after the first phase. Janelle Price, the series second place position at the moment, but of course Chris Burton not competing here this weekend, so she can really extend a lead at the top of the table. Alex Bragg, the defending champion, and some of the top French riders as well. Nicolas Touzaint, Raphael Cochet making Event Rider Masters debuts. A little bit further on down the leaderboard, disappointment for Sidney Dufresne and Trezor Mail. Tom Crisp, Liberty and Glory were really pleased with that test as well, but just one pole in the show jumping covers first through to 7th place. 2 poles covers the top 20, so it is exceptionally tight, and we know that that is going to be a real challenge for our combinations in the jumping phases. Blythe Tate, Mark Ruddock in the studio with me. Let's just take a moment and look back on the dressage so far today. And first we'll talk about our leader, King de Brio, Tebow Vallette. Blythe, it was just pure class.
Yeah, lovely test. It was very forward, very expressive, great transitions in and out of the big trots and canters. I think they got it right. He would be my leader as well.
Leader. And Mark, in terms of other highlights for you, who stood out?
Well, every single one of those last 9, I could pick a standout moment for. So, and I think that we sat here and actually were having to pick why we didn't give it a 9.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because you can be critical, but ultimately that's because the standard is so good.
We've never been able to do that. We had an easy afternoon, Blythe.
No, yeah, we were, and we knew that there was going to be a strong finish. That there's a lot of depth of talent in that last lot. But
you could come again tomorrow, and it could jumble round. That 10 could jumble round because he had a really good clear round.
Exactly, and since I was on last, I have walked the cross country, and I think it's going to cause some trouble.
Be well, we're going to come to you about the cross country a little bit later on, actually, because we're interested to hear your thoughts on it. But in terms of the numbers and how things have played out, let's go and catch up with Derm in Echo Ratings Corner.
Thanks, Nicole. What a finish that is. We ended up with a dressage average of 29.8, and if we look at all of the ERM since we began at Chatsworth back in 2016, you'll see the trend that's happening. This is the lowest ever venue dressage. As you can see, all 3 are in 2019. That's a trend we've been talking about across the sport. That first phase is getting more and more and more competitive. We were about 1.6 below on expected, 1.9 below on 6RA, so you can see a little bit friendly in terms of the judging. The Eventing Prediction Centre, so SAP, using their predictive analytics, we've really been working on who's the real winner from today, because it's not just necessarily who ends up in the lead, but Tebow Vallette is the one which comes out on top. Maybe you won't be surprised by that, but his chances of a win are up 6%. His chances of a top 3 are up 9%. Sarah Cohen, the other really big riser of the day. Sarah Cohen Treason up 4% now for a win, into second favourite at 10% to take the win, still behind Gemma Tattersall, 16%. What that is doing is it's tracking all of the show jumping, all of the cross country jumping, all of the cross country time, and it's doing it 10,000 times for this particular venue. And it's coming up with Tebow being the big winner of today, Gemma remaining the favourite. But I would say the one to keep an eye on, the big standout for me, Sarah Cohen and Treason. With everything we know about them in the next 2 phases, that's probably one of the big takeaways from what we saw this afternoon. So brilliant dressage, but it's all done now. Will it be a tight show jumping? Will it be tight on time? All to come. But back to you, Nicole, for now.
Well, one thing is certain, there is very, very little room for error on that leaderboard. I'm expecting lots of change over the next couple of phases. But of course, the ground jury have been in charge of the dressage today. They're in charge of the rest of the competition. And one man that we've been lucky enough to listen into during this first phase is talking to Hannah.
Well, Les Smith, you've been part of our ground jury today. What an exceptional field we've had.
Oh, they were terrific, really. A lot of really, really nice horses, very well ridden, well presented tests. It's a real pleasure to judge them. No mega wow factors. I didn't manage to find a 10 this year like I did a year ago. But, you know, a couple of 9s here and there. And a lot of consistently good workout horses. So it was a real pleasure to judge them.
I think we had 110 from Eric, who was the judge at sea for Tebow Vallette's Holt. He was a real standout performance, obviously overnight leader.
Yeah, no, he was a very nice horse. To me, the canter work just let him down a tiny little bit. I would like to have seen a little bit more jump in the canter, personally. But it was a lovely horse, and it looked in a different sort of class in lots of ways. So I think a very well-deserved leader.
Some really good French performances as well. We're obviously here in France, they're on home turf. Do you think that makes a difference?
I just thought they rode well. A lot of the French riders, a lot of really nice, you know, well-presented tests from the French. I don't know that home difference makes any advantage or not. There's only one French judge, so you can't really say that, you know, it's so biased with the judges. I think we all had the French quite high, so their training's good.
And Les, very quickly, ones to watch for tomorrow. Who do you think is going to excel in the jumping phases?
Well, Gemma's pretty consistent in the jumping, and, you know, lovely horse. She made a mistake in the second change, or the first change, one change she got wrong, and which probably cost her actually being in the lead, did it not?
Probably. We will watch and see how she gets on tomorrow. Les Smith and the rest of the grand jury, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to work with the ERM team as usual. You know, they're a great bunch, and I think it's a great concept, this competition.
Well, there you go. What an advocate. Thanks, Les.
He's a real star, is Les Smith, and we've loved listening in to him during the competition. Well, what a day of dressage we have enjoyed. And actually, it really, really sets the competition up for the jumping tomorrow, because, Mark, 2 poles in the show jumping covers the top 20. That is absolutely nothing. No room for error.
No, and these sneaky little time faults that...
A 0.4 and a 0.8 here and there will make all the difference.
Yeah. As we saw in Wiesbaden with Sarah. And
absolutely, which cost her 2 seconds in the show jumping, actually cost her a podium finish and probably quite a lot of money. We won't tell her that. Blythe, you said you've been out, you've walked the course. Pierre Michelet, the course designer, he of course designed the Rio Olympic Games. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a difficult track. It's not the biggest, as some people have said already, but it's very technical. There's a lot of very steep angles, a lot of committed distances, and I always think that in the Event Rider Masters, when the riders are trying to save every second, that mistakes can creep in. So I think there'll be a bit of a shake-up.
Bit of a shake-up on that leaderboard. And there's a few questions, particularly towards the end of the course, that actually we could see some dramatics at.
Absolutely. I think probably the last combination is the most difficult on the track, and they're certainly not home until they've jumped that.
Absolutely not. Now, Mark, I'm going to come to you. Who is going to be on top of the podium tomorrow afternoon?
Treason.
Sarah Cohen and Treason. Yeah. Okay, coming from 7th to take the win.
Yeah. I'm going for Laura
Collett de Capo. So both our guests in the studio are saying that they are going to be climbers. They're disagreeing with Echo Ratings, who said at the beginning of our broadcast that it was going to be a dressage competition. There's one way you can find out. You'll have to join us tomorrow. Tune in, eventridermasters.tv for all of the action. A huge thank you to Blythe, to Mark, to Chris Burton, who joined us in the studio earlier today. And a huge thank you you at home for watching. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 o'clock Central European time in the morning for the show jumping. And if it's anything like today, it is sure to be very dramatic on that leaderboard. We'll see you then.